or what would constitute a soccer fan. I don't follow the sport very closely, much to the chagrin of my wife.
You watch the World Cup, right?
I watch the World Cup. Who doesn't watch the World Cup, right? As soon as you see these guys throwing on their nation's jersey, it just brings a different atmosphere, just like the Olympics does. And all of a sudden you sit and you're watching curling for 3 hours, something you never thought you'd do in your life. But because they're in a national jersey, it just changes the atmosphere of it. But yeah, I can't claim to be the biggest soccer fan, but I would go to a World Cup game to experience what that atmosphere is going to be like. And with the parade and everything, all the folks that the Netherlands brought for this event, I mean, Arrowhead's going to be rocking tomorrow.
So that's going on tomorrow. Follow our social media channels for that, and I cannot wait. And for Fan Club Friday, we'll have a couple members of the Dutch Club KC joining us in studio. Don't forget, thinking of everything going on, tomorrow, 96.5 The Fans World Soccer Headquarters at the Peanut on State Line, with the drive starting at 2. Kickoff is at 9. They'll be giving away some cool prizes, and it's all presented by Truly, the official seltzer of U.S. Soccer, and by Security Bank of Kansas City, boldly local since 1933. You guys know the Jay Southland Tow Service text line always open, 913-586-7965. Video stream up and running on YouTube, Twitch, X, and Facebook. And we will, of course, keep an eye on the text line and the chat as well. But, man, I wasn't planning on, I keep saying this all week, I wasn't planning on starting with the Royals, but Jack Caglione continues to give us things to talk about. And yesterday, another 2-home run game. It's almost getting laughable at this point in time, what he continues to do. He has 6 home runs in the last 5 games. And what he has done in the month of June in particular, it's like Reggie Jackson stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the numbers from Opta Stats, which is kind of a Twitter account that I follow that puts out some more specific trends and stats. Anyway, 3 multi-home run games over his last 14 games. 3 games with 4 more times reaching base safely. The only player since 1920 to do that in that 14-game span at a younger age than Cags was Reggie Jackson, all the way back in 1969. He continues to stay white hot here in the month of June. He's been one of the best players in all of baseball here for about 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, I saw another stat. Jack Caglione became the only player outside of Kyle Schwarber. Him and Schwarber are the only 2 players since they began bat tracking in 2023 to register multiple games of home runs with bat speeds over 82 miles per hour. I mean, the elite span, it looks effortless when the ball leaves his bat. I do have something to say. I feel like we should all collectively ask questions about the computer stats from yesterday. There's no way that home run, that first one only went 420 feet. There's just no way that thing only went 420. That thing looked like it was going at least 450 feet. He has been utterly ridiculous. The numbers that he's posted in June. Think about the fact he's got 14 home runs now on the year, 9 of them this month. I mean, we all kind of waited as we saw him make his way through minor league baseball when he was on incredible tears in AA, incredible tears in AAA. We all wondered, what's it going to look like if he goes on a tear like that with the big league club and the Kansas City Royals? Folks, we have our answer. It's completely mesmerizing to watch. You cannot leave your couch when he's coming up to the plate. And no better example of that than in what would have been Game 3 of that series against St. Louis on Sunday, where literally they had just come back from break. I mean, they panned to the pitcher throwing mid-pitch, and Cags goes yard. You cannot leave the room if Cags is coming up to bat. It's just not in your lexicon at that moment.
Yeah, and on Monday we kind of talked about this, but we're now seeing exactly what we kind of saw in the minors, where he is just consistently crushing the baseball. He's as confident as ever. And I don't know where you're at. On Monday, Drew and I were going back and forth discussing just what is realistic for him in terms of getting national recognition. I think you're starting to see more of the national social media accounts, and even on MLB Network, they're starting to pick up on this more and more, what he is doing. Because again, in the American League, there's an argument no player has been better in the AL this month than Jack Caglione. I still think it is unrealistic to think that you can vote Cags into the All-Star game. Call me a hater all you want. I'm just being realistic about it. The top 20 voting came out for outfielders. He's not even in the top 20.
Yeah.
He's not making up 900,000 votes and passing 12 players or so. Actually, 16 players is what he would need to do to get in as a fan vote. Now, is there a chance he keeps it up that the managers and his peers, that when they go through that process, by the time there are alternates and all that, could he sneak in that way? Maybe so, right? Everything matches up. I still think the more realistic path, what we should be pushing for, is that he gets in the home run derby. And a reminder, you do not have to be an all-star to be in the home run derby. So that used to way back when that you had to be an all-star. You don't. I think it is very much in play that he's a home run derby contestant. That was on Monday, and I said, if he gets like 15 or 16 by early July, guys, he's at 14, and it's June 24th. He's not going to hit 2 home runs every game, but even if he slows down this crazy pace and he hits just like 1 or 2 more the next week, he's at 16. Just like that. I think the home run derby I was at 40% Monday. I'm going 60% chance he ends up getting in the home run derby by the time this is all said and done. Everybody's going to pay attention. He's someone that could actually win the derby, too. Who doesn't want to see a 495-foot home run in Philadelphia during the derby?
I think Major League Baseball has a unique opportunity this year to showcase the next generation a little bit, to showcase some of the young emerging talent that Major League Baseball has. When you look at young guys, 23 and below, that are mashing the baseball right. I mean, Jordan Walker's got 18 home runs with the St. Louis Cardinals this year. Of course, let's talk about the big Amish and what Nick Kurtz is doing with the A's right now. You look at those 2 guys, along with a Jack Caglione, those 3 in a home run derby field brings an intriguing feel to the event of here's the next generation of long ball hitters that you can expect to enjoy in Major League Baseball for the next decade. How do you play with that while also trying to consider some of the guys at the top of the heap, right? I don't believe Yordan Alvarez would compete in the home run derby.
I think he's already said. Yeah, I believe Alvarez, because of his injury history,
it just doesn't make a lot of sense for him. Schwarber, it seems like
outside.
it's his, I mean, that's his calling card, so you're not taking anything away from Cags there with him being on the NL. Buxton, I mean, with the injury history.
He did it last year, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. So I look at it and I say, outside of a player like maybe a Ben Rice, a Munetaka Murakami.
He's hurt, though.
Yes, there's nobody in the American League that I gravitate towards and say, oh, yeah, that guy's definitely going to be in the home run derby. And if Cags isn't an all-star, which I don't think is going to happen, which is shameful considering the way he's played, considering the fact that he's been the best right fielder in the American League for the last month and a half.
Again, his path is, if you're somebody that's texting in and saying, how's he not an all-star? Again, are we talking about him being part of the voting process, or that a manager and his peers select him? Because that's the only way he's getting in. He's not getting in through the fan. I'm sorry. This is not like I know Dusty is very excited about Jack Caglione, as we all are, and is tweeting out, vote Cags, vote Cags. Go right ahead. Truly, call me a hater. He's not getting voted in he by the fans. It is not happening. He is going to have to get in by way of being an alternate or a reserve, and that will be done by multiple people that make that decision, including the manager of the American League All-Star team and his peers that vote him in. He's not getting in via the fan vote. So you can push all you want to vote him in. He's going to get to 12th in voting. He's not even registering the top 20. And to get in the top 20, you need 185,000 votes or so. He didn't even have that. So the fan vote, it's too late for that, especially when you're in the market of Kansas City. This is not like back in 2015 when everybody was voting all the Royals players in. It'd be one thing if Cags was sitting 8th right now. We're saying, hey, he needs a little boost. He's not even in the 20. So he to me, if he's an all-star, it'll only be via the manager selecting him. And that's a possibility.
It certainly is. And I understand the thought process behind Major League Baseball and their all-star voting to not relegate guys by position, but to more or less just say the outfield as a whole. But if we're looking at purely right fielders, the only guy with better numbers than Jack Caglione is Aaron Judge. I mean, he's second in batting average among qualified players behind only Wilyer Abreu. He's tied with Luke Raley for the second most home runs by a right fielder. Aaron Judge, the only guy ahead of him. Same situation calls for on-base percentage and OPS and WAR. The guy is utterly ridiculous. And I see somebody in the text line asking which American League outfielders have been statistically, you could say, better than Jack Caglione this year. That's not necessarily where the argument lies. The argument is in terms of the voting. And that's sort of unfortunate, right? I mean, Byron Buxton is a surefire starter in center field for the All-Star game. I mean, he has been utterly ridiculous for the Minnesota Twins this year. Mike Trout, his average is down, but he's hitting the long ball. He's got 17 ribbies or home runs already this year. A ridiculous 66 walks this season. do you look at those two guys and say, okay, they're definitely in that conversation to be starters for it. So in terms of the fan vote, I just don't think he's got enough room left to go. And depending on who gets in via the fan vote and who is left to be chosen from by the manager, you can't just hang your hat on that. I think he should be an all-star. I absolutely think he's earned it. You also can't discount the fact that he's having a great year, albeit on a bad team. You know, can Major League Baseball, I guess you could say, and the fans and the managers,
multiple players on a
can you justify picking 3 guys to be all-stars on a poor baseball team?
913-586-7965. And again, someone says, hey, 3 outfielders make the all-star game from fan voting. 4 to 6 get selected by peers and manager. I'm confused why you're so adamant he can't get in. Again, I think I've said it a few times in this first segment. His path to getting in is via his peers and manager. What I have said, I'm adamantly confident he's not getting in via fan vote. Those are 2 different things. You're exactly right, and that's kind of what I've been trying to say. That's all. I don't know why it's being a hater when I'm just being realistic about the fan vote. We all have the results in front of us.
Yeah. The fan vote.
He's not in the top 20. He's not. This is not a situation where we just need to bump him up from 8th to 4th. He's not registered.
Yeah, he's not getting in via the fan vote. I do think that the opportunity is there for him to get in via the peers, via the manager, which I believe will be the Blue Jays manager. He'll be the guy in charge of the American League. I mean, the numbers say he should be in that conversation. He's 5th among all outfielders in the American League in batting average. He's now top 5 after yesterday's game in home runs, right? He's only got 30 RBIs this year, which puts him almost in the top 20, but hard to fault him for being down in the batting order, and then by the time he gets moved up to 3rd, everybody's hurt. Right. He hasn't been put in positions to drive in runs yet this year. He should be an all-star. I just can't say with any real sense of confidence that he will be.
Yeah, let's get him in the home run derby. 6 home runs in his last 5 games, 416 feet, 443 feet, 426, 444, 404, 402. He's got 3 homers over 110 miles an hour this month, as you said. Only Nick Kurtz has more of those so far. We'll talk more about CAGs. Don't forget, this year we've partnered with KCUC, who's donating $50 to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for every home run the boys in blue hit this season. 1 in 8 men will face prostate cancer. Early detection saves lives. And at KCUC, Kansas City's largest, most experienced, and most advanced urology team, you see the best in KC. Scheduled today at kcuc.com. Don't forget, also today, Josh Vernier, our Royals insider, will join us at 12:30. We'll ask him about CAGs and his path potentially to finding a way on the All-Star roster, home run derby, and also what Vern makes of where this team is health-wise. We know Chris Bubic is going to have a rehab assignment tonight in Omaha. They need that to go well, for crying out loud, based off of the injuries on this pitching staff right now, as we got the unfortunate news. I know you and I will talk more about it later. Cole Reagans, as we kind of suspected last week, elbow surgery is going to be needed for Reagans, and so he could miss all of next year if it's the type of elbow surgery that we think it might be. So we'll get to that in a bit. But I know you guys were locked in. I probably drew more than anybody in the building, other than maybe Mac, to the NBA draft yesterday. I said I was going to watch the
whole first round.
Yeah, I believe it.
I
believe it. Okay, so Logan is what I told you guys yesterday. I was like, I'll watch the first 5 picks, and then I'll set the alerts. Like, I want to watch the first 5, especially with Darren Peterson and Wagler, and then, okay, I'll just follow the alerts. And that's what I did. We all know by now, A.J. DeBonsa went number 1 to Washington. Peterson goes 2 to the Jazz, and then Boozer 3. 1, 2, 3. Most of the mock drafts nailed the first 5 picks. Like, there wasn't really a true surprise. I know there was speculation on what could happen, but the mocks pretty much nailed it. And then Wagler goes to the Clippers, and then Sturtz, your guy.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Iowa. You had an Iowa shirt on earlier.
It's the Iowa jacket sitting over there on the table.
Sturtz goes to Oklahoma City. What do you make of the fit in Utah? Because I think what we learn, if you believe the comments from Darren Peterson, and we'll play what Bill Self had to say as well, if you believe the comments from him, and he claims he told his agent, shortly after the process or whatever, that, there was something special, the energy he liked in Utah, all this kind of stuff. There was a lot of smokescreen stuff, though, that, he didn't want to go to Utah. And it was because he only met with Washington and things like that. I think ultimately that stuff that gets discussed so much during the draft process, and then fast forward to Summer League and eventually fast forward to the start of the NBA season, I don't think he's going to dislike playing in Utah. As a casual NBA fan, do I hate to see him in Utah? Yeah, because I think you get a little bit lost out there. Although, is there a chance that Danny Ainge is going to be able to build something out there in Utah? I'm excited for Peterson. I'm excited because his camp did not do him any favors, admittedly, during the season, and I get as a KU fan why you are frustrated with the performance that he had in his 1 year at Kansas. But at the same time, I do think people got to a point where it crossed a line in terms of the criticism during the season for him, and to the point where some people are like rooting against him now in the NBA. And I guess I don't get that whatsoever. I hope he crushes it. I think he's going to end up being the best player in the draft class when it's all said and done.
I agree with that sentiment. I mean, AJ DeBanza has crazy athleticism and really good positional size, but I don't have expressed confidence in his ability to develop a incredibly consistent. I don't think he's a guy that can build himself into a 38 to 40% three-point shooter. Darren Peterson comes into the NBA with that ability. He can play on the ball as a point guard. He can play off the ball at the 2 if he needs to, on the wing. He's got positional versatility. He's got prototypical size, great ball handling, and I think he fits what Utah wants. I think that he'll probably go to the Jazz as more of a 2 guard,
yes,
considering what Keontae George brings at the point. You look at Lauri Markkanen, who I think can play a little bit more of the power forward position now, which I think is his natural spot. He played a lot of the 3 last year for Utah. Allows for Ace Bailey at 6'9" as a guard, quote unquote, to play a little bit more small forward. Walker Kessler at the center position, if they can hold on to him, although there's been some offseason, conversation about Walker Kessler being unhappy with the Utah Jazz. I just think that this is a team that has a ton of young talent. I think Darren Peterson fits that mold with this team. I think he immediately comes in and is going to be looked at as the guy that's supposed to take this team to the next level. And that's not a dig against Markkanen or Keontae George, who are both really good players. I just think Darren Peterson brings it to a different level.
Yeah, I think he elevates he elevates the franchise. I still think the face of the team is Lauri Markkanen as long as he's there. I mean, he almost averaged 27 and 7 last year. Lauri Markkanen is the face of the team, but Darren Peterson's what's going to make them a playoff team, because Utah has been in the gutter for the last decade, it seems like, ever since they got rid of Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, and Quinn Snyder and company. It feels like you're also forgetting about Jaren Jackson Jr. Don't forget that he also is there, Logan as well. So, I mean, Lauri still might be the 3. I mean, your starting lineup could be Keontae George, Darren Peterson, Lauri Markkanen, Jaren Jackson Jr., and then Walker Kessler. I mean, that's a solid starting 5. Ace Bailey, Isaiah Collier off the bench. I think you're right. Darren Peterson's not going to have to be point guard, which is the best thing for him. He can just show up and hoop. Isaiah Collier, 7 assists a game. Keontae George, almost 7 assists a game. I think it's a really good blend of players for Darren Peterson to be with. We'll have to see how things go with Will Hardy being the head coach. He's I don't know if he's the guy or not. We're going to find out, because I think the pressure is on him now to help lead this team to the playoffs, because if they're still missing the playoffs with the roster the way that it is, then
they'll get fired.
They might have to look at a coaching change. But Will Hardy has been pegged as a guy that is from the Popovich tree, one that can help elevate talent. And we'll see if now that they feel like they have a completed roster, if Darren can help elevate the team. But the roster is very nice. The problem, though, you play in the Western Conference, and that conference is the best by a mile in terms of depth. So it's going to be difficult for them to even make the playoffs. But I think they can do it with the roster that they have.
Bill Self, of course, after like any draft, they have media availability after one of his players gets drafted, and that was the case last night. And this was from the Zoom call, Bill Self talking about what he expects. Fast forward, 6 years from now, what were we saying about Darren Peterson?
Well, his ceiling is he's in 10 years he's an 8-time All-Star. I mean, I think he could be a perennial All-Star every year. It may take him a year or two to get his legs under him, but I think he'll be one of the best guards in the league. He'll be one of the most talked about. He'll be a guy that averages 20, 25 a game, I think, over the course of his career.
Yeah, nobody's question. I understand the availability part at Kansas, but he's going to score. Like that's he's going to go and score. If you were wondering, guys, Rookie of the Year odds are already out, and so Cam Boozer's the favorite to win Rookie of the Year right now. This is at least at one book. AJ plus 275, and then Acuff and Peterson are both 3-1. So he's tied for the third best odds to win Rookie of the Year. Sounds about right now. I mean, I would not be based on his scoring ability. I'm not telling you he's going to win Rookie of the Year, but he's absolutely in play. Very much. You're the number 2 overall pick in the draft. You should be in play for Rookie of the Year right away.
And while I do think that Cameron Boozer rightfully went number 3 in this draft, because I think DeBanza and Peterson are better players, he went to the worst situation of the 3.
Yeah, Memphis
is terrible.
Yes.
Who knows what's going on with Ja Morant? So Cameron Boozer's going to have the ball in his hands with a much greater frequency than Debansa or Darren Peterson are going to be doing.
Same thing with Darius Acuff.
Yeah.
Like Darius Acuff might average, based on his scoring talent, he might average like 30 points a game in all seriousness. Which, again, this is the thing about, I don't think Darren Peterson's going to win Rookie of the Year because if you look at the players he was with, Keontae George averaged 23, Laurie averaged almost 27, Jaren Jackson averaged 22. Darren Peterson's not going to, this is, again, why I thought Darren Peterson, the best place he could go was where he wasn't necessarily the number one option or the face of the franchise. And with Utah, I think he is in a situation where that matches a perfect situation for him. He's not going to be asked to do literally everything. There's other talent around him where he can help elevate the team to another level because he is that caliber of player, but he's not going to get asked to do what Darius Acuff is going to do, what Mikael Brown is going to do, and what Cam Boozer is going to be asked to do, what Caleb Wilson's going to be asked to do. So that, I think, helps him from a pressure standpoint because if the hammy flares up at all, he's going to get asked about it. But if you're the face of the franchise and it flares up, then that's a big problem. And then there's going to be a lot of questions around you. Where at Utah, I don't think that conversation would be the same if it happened.
Well, to that point a little bit more, Drew, I think also just the media attention. I know it's the NBA. Everybody covers every team. But we know there's a difference between playing in Utah and playing in New York or playing in Miami or playing in, you know what I mean? Like,
no question.
I think for his personality and interaction with the media, he wasn't negative or anything, just you could tell maybe it wasn't his favorite. He wasn't as comfortable or his favorite thing to talk to the media, at least at Kansas. Now, I thought post-draft last night, he actually showed way more personality than we have seen. Maybe somebody that's not going to wouldn't be as comfortable with the bright lights in New York as far as a media perspective. And so I think from that in Utah, it's got a little slower pace. I think that part actually
I'll say in
also
fairness,
fits
you're here getting compared to Kobe Bryant. There's going to be a lot of media attention in your face. John Morant was getting attention in Memphis. So you're going to get attention in Utah if you're Darren Peterson.
Yeah, Memphis is still, I think it's still even. Utah might be as bland of a media market you can be in the NBA.
I understand. I get it. I think that just from a.
Of course he's going to be talked about. He's the number 2 overall pick.
He's going to get talked about a lot.
I'm just saying it's different than being. We know the markets. We know it's just different than being in LA or New York or now even Oklahoma City just because of the expectation there or in these other markets. That's all I'm saying. I'm just talking about from interacting with the constant media pressure and being in a market. Utah is not the same as some of the other places. That's all. I agree. People will be critical still, of course. So we'll see. And then, of course, locally, too, what do you make of your guy, Bennett Sturts, going to OKC? How about that?
I love it and I hate it for Bennett Sturts. I mean, he couldn't go to many situations better than what Oklahoma City has. The problem for Bennett Sturts, being the 16th overall pick, he's going to have opportunities, but this Oklahoma City team, if you are a guard going into the NBA, that's about the last place on earth you want to land right now. I mean, not just because they have SGA and because Bennett Sturts is a primary point guard who plays at his best when the ball is in his hands. Hard to do that when SGA is on the floor. But they have a ridiculous amount of depth behind SGA with Cason Wallace and with Jared McCain, who they brought over. Now, there are conversations being had about some of these guys being trade pieces this offseason. Lou Dort's likely to be a free agent and is going to leave this offseason. It's just he kind of put himself, or he has himself now been put into a kind of a logjam situation. But if it all works out, this is a great spot for him to be in. And, I mean, really give a shout out to Oklahoma City last night, because despite the fact that they lost in the Western Conference Finals after winning a title last year, they were one of the big winners of the NBA draft last night.
Decisions,
yeah, they get Bennett Sturts at 16, and at 12, you use that pick from the Clippers to get a Daymara, and now you have another body that you can throw at Victor Wembanyama when you face them again in what's likely to be a Western Conference Finals rematch next year.
All right, we'll get back to the NBA a little bit later on and also talk about Keaton Wagler out of Shawnee Mission Northwest, who, of course, was, as expected, a top 5 pick in the NBA draft. I think somebody's dream might have been crushed yesterday with a move that happened in the NFL, though, and I'll explain what that is. It's certainly been one that's been discussed on this show before, and the NCAA made a correct decision on something yesterday. That's next here on Cody and Gold.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
The world's biggest soccer tournament has arrived, and you can trade the entire tournament on Kalshi. On Kalshi, you can trade every match from the opening stage all the way to the final. Maybe you're looking for something local. Algeria versus Austria. Currently, if you're saying, hey, you know what? The team over in LFK, what do I like for them? Well, Algeria currently trading at 25%, meaning a $100 trade, could show you a $365 profit. On Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there is no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. For a limited time only, download the Kalshi app and use code TAPP, T-A-P-P, to get $10 when you trade 10. K-A-L-S-H-I, Kalshi. Trade the beautiful game. 18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory.
Honey, did you invite the minions over?
Well, you know how we talked about getting Wi-Fi from Xfinity?
Yeah.
I ordered it this morning, was online in minutes, then they showed up.
So they just came over to use the Wi-Fi?
They even brought their own devices and spell book.
You didn't give them the new Wi-Fi password, right?
No!
That's good.
I gave them our old one. Because Xfinity lets us keep the same network name and password so devices connect instantly.
What do they want Wi-Fi for anyways?
Better not to know. Plausible deniability.
Get streaming or scheming instantly with same-day Wi-Fi from Xfinity. Plus, lock in one price for the most reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi for 5 years. Guaranteed. And see Minions and Monsters only in theaters. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Use of fiber coaxial cable. Learn more at xfinity.com/same-day Wi-Fi.
Feeling the squeeze of high prices? Then stretch your budget this Friday through Sunday at Hy-Vee. Stock up and save big with 99-cent deals throughout the store. Get special recipe brats, pork loin ribeye, Dole salad kits, and more for just 99 cents. Fill your cart for less with red-hot deals on hundreds of items. Order online or through the Hy-Vee app and leave the shopping to us. Don't miss the 99-cent sale this weekend only at Hy-Vee.
Soccer Fever is in Kansas City, and Hy-Vee is your headquarters for official merchandise, apparel, tailgate, and watch party needs. And Hy-Vee makes game day so easy. They have ready-to-go wings, pizza, party trays, charcuterie, and of course all those delicious sweet treats. If you're planning a cookout, great. Hy-Vee special recipe brats, burgers, and steaks are the best. Check out their match day meat bundle for only $30. And don't forget about Hy-Vee's wine and spirits department. For all of your game day needs, count on Hy-Vee.
A large bank that stays tied to the community it serves? That's bold. For over 90 years, Security Bank has served the greater Kansas City area. That's longer than most of the barbecue joints around. What's our secret sauce? It's our commitment to local lending and local decisions, championing what makes Kansas City great, because Kansas City is full of champions. Speaking of which, we've been recognized as the strongest large bank in KC. Security Bank of Kansas City, member FDIC.
Onyx, I keep having stomach issues. Please make me a doctor's appointment.
Okay. Are you suffering from diarrhea, bloating, gas, or oily stools? If so, you may want to ask your doctor if it could actually be a problem with your pancreas, called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI.
My pancreas? How is EPI treated?
A prescription medicine like Creon, pancrelipase, is used to treat people who can't digest food normally because their pancreas doesn't make enough enzymes. Creon is the #1 prescribed treatment for EPI.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you are allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor, and always with food. Do not chew capsules, as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon. You can learn more at 1-800-633-9110.
Before your appointment, visit creoninfo.com. That's CREON info.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
On the biggest stage in the world, FanDuel is changing the game because sometimes your player gets subbed off and that means your bet goes with them. Well, not anymore. With FanDuel Super Sub, if your player is subbed out, your bet stays in. That's right. Even if your player leaves the match, your bet continues on with the substitute. So you keep your bet alive and it keeps you in the action for even longer. So now you're in it until the final whistle. The Super Sub covers the entire game, including extra time. This summer is going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be even better with our friends over at FanDuel. All you need to do is visit FanDuel.com/local to get started now. Look for the yellow Super Sub icon on the same page and the My Bets page. If your player leaves the match due to substitution or injury, your bet automatically will transfer to the substitute who replaces that player. Go to FanDuel.com/local. Let there be goals this summer for the World Soccer Championship with FanDuel. FanDuel is the official sportsbook of 96.5 The Fan. 21 in President, Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Join us at 96.5 The Fan's World Soccer Headquarters at the Peanut on State Line, June 25th with the drive starting at 2 and kickoff at 9. Presented by Truly, the official seltzer of U.S. Soccer, and by Security Bank of Kansas City, boldly local since 1933.
Even on weekends and holidays, Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric shows up. Expect reliable HVAC plumbing or electric service. Plus, enjoy $500 off a new HVAC system this summer. Schedule your free consultation at anthonyphce.com.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this. Come score the shirt with 96.5 The Fan as we'll be in the Lightwell office building at 11th and Main in downtown KC Mo every Wednesday between 11 and 1 during the World Soccer Championship, giving away shirts, gift cards, and more. Lightwell, managed by Area, owned by Samara Road.
All right, back here on Cody and Gold, just getting started on a Wednesday. Hope you guys are having a good start to your day. I got Logan Weber filling in for Cody today, hosting with me, Drew Nixon, producing the show. Video stream up and running. You guys know that in 4K on YouTube, Twitch, X, and Facebook. And the J Southland Tow Service text line always open 913-586-7965. I know something that has come up on this show for multiple years, and mainly I think Cody was certainly a bigger advocate than I think Drew, and I was very much against this player being brought in. Now I think I can confidently say that we can close the book on this chapter and we can stop suggesting this player end up in Kansas City with the Chiefs for 3 years, for 2 years, right? Kyle Pitts yesterday, tied in for the Atlanta Falcons, reached an agreement on a 3-year, $54 million contract extension, includes $36 million guaranteed. It's actually the largest 3-year contract for a tight end in NFL history. That's very specific. But we all know the cap continues to go up. And Kyle Pitts is coming off his second best year as a pro. His rookie year, we remember, right? He had top 5 pick and he had 1,000 yards, had 1 touchdown. Last year was very good for Atlanta, 928 on 88 catches, had 5 touchdowns. Atlanta, I think, smartly just decided to not mess around and move on with somebody else. They decided to go ahead and lock him up. I don't know if you were ever hey, bring Kyle Pitts to KC guy, Logan Weber. I think basically it was a contract year season for Kyle Pitts. I just don't trust that that's the production that we're getting. Now, he's not your top 5 pick. I think if you're Atlanta, like, you're also more pressured to sign him to an extension because you as an organization picked him in the top 5. So to not sign him to a second contract would be pretty damning for a top 5 pick. It happens, but it'd be damning. Did you want him here? And then I'll get to the part that I think now impacts the Chiefs moving forward.
I wanted the promise of Kyle Pitts to be in Kansas City, right? I mean, we've all fallen for it for years. I know I've done it twice in the last 4 years where I tell myself there's no way I'm taking Kyle Pitts in my fantasy draft. And then all of a sudden you're into round 8, round 9, and he's still sitting there and you're like, you know what? Maybe this is the year, right? He's 6'6", 250 pounds. He runs a 4.4. He's just a freak of nature athlete. Like, this is the year that he puts it together, and he never does. And yes, last year he had a good year. 88 catches for 928, 5 touchdowns. But if you simply take away the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game where he goes for 11 grabs for 166 and 3 touchdowns, he's got a sub 800-yard season and 2 scores. I mean, that Tampa Bay Buccaneers game, not trying to take it away because obviously he put the performance together, but the big year was buoyed in large part because of this incredible record-setting game he had late in the year against the Buccaneers. I was never super gung-ho about the idea of bringing in Kyle Pitts, other than the fact that it was, again, like I said, the promise of him, the potential that he always had. The guy was a top 5 pick for a reason, and if Atlanta couldn't bring it out of him because of the litany of quarterbacks that are a bit lackluster, in my opinion, that if they've tried to throw the football to, I thought that bringing him to Kansas City and having him learn under Andy Reid and catch passes from Patrick Mahomes could unlock something in him. But for 3 years and $54 million, absolutely not.
That's a hefty contract. If you're wondering just where did Kyle Pitts rank last year? So Trey McBride had more receiving yards than any other tight end in football last year. He had over at 1,200. Kyle Pitts had the second most receiving yards of any tight end in football, then Juwan Johnson. Then as much as the national narrative tries to tell you Travis Kelce wasn't good last year, he still finished 4th in receiving yardage in the National Football League among all tight ends. Tyler Warren was just behind him, and then there was a drop-off with Dalton Schultz and Hunter Henry. Kyle Pitts is a very productive player, but that contract, I'm with you, had no interest in. My question now moving forward is if we admit that at least, let's call it for 2 years, Kyle Pitts is off the table, right? Doesn't mean he's going to finish all 3 years of that contract in Atlanta, but there's a good chance he does. So, okay, let's just say for the sake of the conversation, he's in Atlanta at least for the next 2 years. Does this tell you now the Chiefs, as we likely think this is the last year for Travis Kelce in Kansas City, does this tell you that they now are going to be forced to go draft a tight end next year while also recognizing the wide receiver room in general likely is going to have to be addressed heavily again? Or will they go with the approach that a lot of teams have taken that don't have one of those top 5 tight ends in football, and that is you kind of piece it together with multiple guys post Kelce. Like, I think there's a chance that next season, assuming Kelce is not back, it is Noah Gray paired with some other veteran or another veteran and a rookie that's a mid-round draft pick kind of thing. I don't think they're forced, nor will they be forced to go and draft a tight end in the first round next year. I think they can't afford to do that because of the thought that the wide receiver room is likely not going to have Rashee Rice next year. I don't think they should. Maybe they will. Should extend him. So then you're looking at Worthy, where if he blows up this year, okay, maybe you feel confident. Otherwise, it's a question mark still. You have Tyquan Thornton, and then you got Jalen Royals and Cyrus Allen that are complete wild cards that nobody knows ultimately what we will have a better idea after this year. So I think they will need to use those resources more at the wide receiver position than tight end. So I think it'll be more of a 1 or 2 year stopgap of veterans, a combination of the two, which is not what we're used to seeing in Kansas City. But I think a lot of teams do that. If you don't have, the McBrides, the Pitts, the Kelces, the Warrens, you're going to have kind of a combination of multiple tight ends.
I personally don't like the idea of using just a aggregate of tight ends. You're trying to this whole Moneyball approach to try to figure out how to replace Travis Kelce, which I know that's probably the most likely scenario because how in the hell are you going to replace Travis Kelce? I mean, the guy's, in my view, the greatest tight end to ever play the position. But I think from my perspective, I don't know how you can just throw out a couple of average tight ends next year if you're without Travis Kelce, because like you said, we're not.
You better have a much better wide receiver room if that's the case.
We're not used to seeing the Chiefs without a really good tight end in Travis Kelce. You know who else isn't used to it? Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. He's used to the tight end being his safety valve. And if you don't have a guy that at least has the potential of being a really good player at that position, you're hamstringing Patrick Mahomes, in my opinion. I feel like whether it's going out and finding a tight end in free agency, the tight end market in free agency is not good year after year after year. But I mean, I look at the top guys on that list. I mean, TJ Hawkinson's going to be a free agent next year. He'll be approaching 31 years old by that point. Dallas Goedert will be a free agent. You look at a Hunter Henry maybe from New England or Evan Ingram in Denver. There are some guys in the free agent market who I think will not be really.
They're all 32-year-old tight ends, though.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to be anywhere near the level of Travis Kelce, but I think they would be better than if you were to go out and sign, I don't know, Austin Hooper from Atlanta and try to use him alongside Noah Gray, which we're all hoping and waiting with bated breath to think that, with the promise that he knows what his hands can do and actually catch footballs again this year. But I really think that there are some intriguing tight end options in next year's class. I look at, hard to point out a guy
Trey
following. Trey Green from LSU. I look at Jamari Johnson in Oregon. I know I'm being a little bit of a homer here, but Iowa has a really good young tight end. Again, his name is DJ Vanami, who I feel like could be a really good mid-round selection. That's just what Iowa seems to do. God forbid we have anybody that can throw a football.
Let's hope it's not Tony Moeaki all over again, please.
Yeah, that's fair. Fair point. That I understand. I was really hyped about Tony Moeaki in a Chiefs uniform. Yeah. He had that one sweet one-handed catch. I had that. I had that picture.
Poster?
Oh, I had the picture blown up in my room. It was framed. I thought Tony Moeaki was the next big thing. That didn't work. But I cannot say in good conscience that the Chiefs should just roll with Noah Gray and some other middling tight end to try to figure out that position, because you have to surround Patrick Mahomes with as many weapons as you can. I feel like the Chiefs are in a position right now where they are dangerously close to what the Packers did with Aaron Rodgers for a decade, where they just sort of gave him, this guy's mad, figure it out. And
I always push back on that. I get that is certainly, you're not alone in that thinking. I push back. I think people are thinking that's the result, not the actual commitment to it. So when people bring up Aaron Rodgers and the lack of weapons that he had, and they didn't give him, the Chiefs have actually committed resources to the position. We could argue about how it's panned out. They spent a first-round pick on Xavier Word. They spent a high second-round pick on Rashee Rice. We can argue about how they got in first-round production out of Worthy. Of course not. Not yet. They haven't. So I think they're two different things. I get what you're saying. I just think when we make the Green Bay Packers Rodgers comparison, when people make that comparison, the Packers just flat out wouldn't spend resources on wide receivers. The Chiefs have spent resources there. It hasn't panned out. Now, next offseason, they have to spend more resources at wide receiver, in my opinion, than they ever have, because I wouldn't spend it on Rashee Rice. So they either go trade for a known commodity, spend high-level draft picks on wide receivers, plural, or go spend big-time money on a free agent wide receiver, and not to look too far in the next offseason, Logan, but the wide receiver market in free agency right now doesn't look all that sexy. So we'll see. So I get, you're not the only person that said that. I think Drew agrees with you, but I think it's misleading to suggest the Chiefs have not put resources into the weapons on offense the same way the Packers were. I completely disagree with that.
I mean, they drafted Christian Watson in the second round. They took a couple tight ends in the second and third round, Jaden Reed in the second round. So the Packers have dedicated some resources.
But that all feels mostly post Aaron Rodgers. That feels more like the Jordan Love era.
It was like going into Aaron's like last year when they did
2022, I think was Watson, right? So when was
it was when it was going into Aaron's like last season with Green Bay. They did dedicate resources, but at that point he was already too far gone.
Too little, too late.
I think they have to draft a tight end. I think they have to, because of the reason that you brought up, Logan, where you're not used to the way the Chiefs have run their offense for the last decade. For Patrick Mahomes' entire career, they've had a tight end that they utilize on a regular basis. And for you to just throw Noah Gray in there and somebody else is not going to cut it. Part of the reason I wanted Kyle Pitts has a better yards per reception than Travis Kelce does for his entire career. Both, you look at their career numbers. Kyle Pitts has a better yards per reception average than Travis Kelce does. He just hadn't played. And also, for a talent like that, you put him in an offense where the tight end is used more.
He hasn't played. I'll give you argument on the offense. He hasn't played. Kyle Pitts hasn't played.
I didn't say that.
You said he hasn't played. You literally said he hasn't played.
If you let me finish, he hasn't played with a good enough quarterback like Patrick Mahomes. He hasn't played in an offense where they utilize tight.
That's fine. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, if you want me to stop talking, you can go ahead. Actually,
don't get angry. Go ahead.
No, I'm not mad.
Go ahead.
It sounds like you wanted to say something though. Like if you don't want me to talk,
Drew,
then
go ahead.
Kyle Pitts has a better yards per reception in his career than Travis Kelce does. he has not had the quarterback play or the offense that is utilized tight end the same way the Chiefs do. So part of why I think you draft a tight end in the first round, like Trey'Dez Green, Jamari Johnson, or you could have traded for Kyle Pitts, is you put that talent in this offense, and the numbers that you see from Kyle Pitts would be better just on default of how the Chiefs run their offense. And I think that's where you can't just throw Noah Gray in there and hope that things are going to work out, because we've seen what he kind of is, and he's not the type of player that the Chiefs are going to have the most success within their offense, because he's not the most talented at a position of need that is maybe even arguable to be more valuable than wide receiver one, just based on how the offense has flowed for the entirety of Patrick Mahomes' career. So whether it's Kyle Pitts or whether it's somebody else, I think they have to draft a tight end in the first or second round just to fill that gap of, this is what we've done well, this is what our quarterback is used to. We can't just roll out Kyle Pitts and, to use your example, Logan, Austin Hooper, and just hope that Pat makes it work. And then if you don't have Rashee Rice, I mean, what exactly are you trying to do here with this offense? I think they have to draft a tight end to solidify that position up based on what we perceive to be Travis Kelce's last season. They're not going to have him next year. So I would feel more comfortable getting a guy that's a known commodity or somebody at least spent on a high-value selection.
Yeah, I just think it'll be more of a priority to fix the wide receiver room than it will be, because they have been so reliant on tight end, and it's been able to help them get past maybe a weaker wide receiver room. No matter what tight end, whether they draft or not draft a tight end, they're not going to have anywhere near the tight end production as they've been relying on with a future Hall of Famer, maybe the greatest tight end in NFL history. So to me, you're going to need way more out of the wide receiver. If you're going to be weaker at tight end, you have to be a hell of a lot better at wide receiver. We'll see how they allocate resources moving forward. But I think Andy Reid offense historically, not just with Patrick Mahomes, absolutely a tight end has been involved. Go back to his Philadelphia days. Tight end is very much a part of Andy Reid's system.
I was surprised they didn't take one this year. I mean, they had Eli Stowers would have been a solid pick where he was. Max Clare would have been a solid pick. Like there were a lot of solid tight ends that you at least get younger in the room and see what you have. Instead, it's nobody after Travis Kelce. It's Noah Gray, who's fine, but Noah Gray also is. It's not like he's a spring chicken either in the league, and doesn't have that athleticism that Travis Kelce ever had, where you could have taken a guy that, like a freak athlete like Eli Stowers or somebody like that potentially could have given you something where you sign one of the older guys to pair up with that young player, and who knows where it goes. But now they're going to have to draft a wide receiver, at least one or two, and a tight end in the draft. If you ask me, like they have to go heavy weapon, only weapon, maybe even forget anything else. You got to go wide receiver, tight end, wide receiver, something like that in rounds 1, 2, and 3. It's got to
be way more offensive heavy next offseason in general, whether it's draft, free agency, trades. Like they will, after the way this offseason went, I think next offseason will be more dedicated to the offense.
They've got 4 picks in the first 3 rounds of next year's draft. With the McDuffie trade, they got the Rams 3rd. And, I mean, you mentioned taking a tight end in the first and second round. I don't necessarily think you need to take one in one of the first 2. I mean, you can take a tight end in the 3rd round. Let's look across the league at some of the best tight ends that the NFL has today. I mean, Mark Andrews was a 3rd-round pick. Sam Laporta was a 3rd-round pick. George Kittle came in the 5th round. So I understand that tight ends, especially in recent drafts, have become much more of a commodity, and you're seeing a lot more guys going rounds 1 and 2 out of that tight end position. But you can still, I believe, land a marketably better tight end than, say, a Noah Gray or a Drew Sample from Cincinnati via free agency in the 3rd round of that draft.
Pick, which is crazy.
Yeah, and it hasn't really worked.
Coming up in 12 minutes, we'll talk about some changes coming to golf, and not just what it actually means for golf, but sports in the United States, and introducing relegation and whether or not we'll see that more. Plus, George Kittle had something to say, thinking of tight ends in football. They got the tight end U stuff going on down in Nashville this week, and George Kittle was asked about the World Cup and how it relates to the NFL playing surfaces. I thought he was spot on with it, so we'll get to that in a little bit. The text line has asked me to bring this up to you, Logan. They want to know, have you resolved your food issues? This has been you have a chance to defend yourself here. You're normally the morning show, this show, normally we say, hey, who left food in the studio? And it's 100% going after you because it's been you.
Yes.
But have you, what do you have to say for this?
Yeah,
the text line is well aware of the eating habits.
I appreciate the opportunity to be called to the witness stand in a way, a means to defend myself here a little bit. So I will hand up. I've done it. Okay. I've left food in the studio twice. Well, technically, actually only once. The second time, the whole Culver's situation, that was an empty container. I had eaten my food. I just threw away the remnants in the trash can, and the box that the burger came in smelled like onions.
Yeah, that was terrible.
I apologize
but what about
for that.
The company kitchen area over there? You had like a half-eaten sandwich, and then...
That was not me.
That wasn't you?
I've left food in the studio twice. Those are my only 2 crimes to this point. And in order to defend myself a little bit, so I do after hours, during night, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. During the day, a lot of the times, I'm substitute teaching. So I'm usually at school from about 7:30 a.m. until about 3 o'clock. I have just enough time after school gets out to basically hop in my car and drive here to the studio. More or less means I got to grab something on the way to the studio. I don't always have a lot of time to eat prior to the show. And so I end up having to kind of eat my dinner in between breaks during the show. And one particular time, I did happen to leave some food, or twice, I guess. The one time with the remnants. I apologize. I have made sure not to make that mistake again, okay? After I am woken up at 10:15, or I wasn't woken up, but I had eaten my breakfast or whatever, and I get a text from Drew that says, hey, can we call you really quick to be on the air?
Happened.
And I'm sitting here thinking, oh, is there like something sports related they want to talk to me about? I wonder what it is. And I could just hear the cackling in the background, and it clicked. Like when you get called to the principal's office and you're trying to think about what you did wrong, and then it occurs to you right as you're walking into his office. That's what that moment felt like for me. And that's been, 3-4 months ago now at this point. I have not made that error since. Everything's been fine. I've learned my lesson. That's all.
The text line's been all over you for this.
I know. They've been giving me grief in the evening.
They wanted to know more about if you still have the same thoughts on meat.
I'm a dark meat guy. Light or dark, I only care about meat in my mouth. There's no way I said that.
I mean, that's
awful.
You were filling in on Black Friday.
On Black Friday.
Logan? You were filling in with me on Black Friday, and you did utter those
light
words.
or dark. I only care about meat in my mouth. The memory is flooding back.
It is. Yes. Yeah. You did utter those words.
Oh no.
Text line says 3 times, Logan. That's ridiculous, man.
It's twice. Only twice. Whoever's half-eaten sandwich this was in the meal area, that was not me. I don't ever eat
Logan,
there.
that you said it with a straight face. Like you said it with a straight face and kept on going about your point. That was the wild part.
Were you and I hosting that day?
Yes.
And somebody else was producing.
It was either that or I was producing. You were solo hosting, and we were just going back and forth.
Man,
I can't remember.
I don't know. I don't remember. But
yeah.
Oh, that's a wow.
It's an all-time drop.
It's
an all-time drop.
All-time for anybody but me. That is an unfortunate drop from my perspective.
Text line says, wait, anytime somebody fills in for Cody, do they have to have a teaching background? Well, Bink, actually, you know what? Bink told a story about he was a gym teacher, right? Wasn't he at one point a PE teacher? So I guess that's true. Professor Tapp is out. He'll be back Monday. Someone asked if he got fired. No, Cody did not get fired. He'll be back Monday. And then Bink was filling in for him, and he taught PE at one point in time. Bink's told us the story. And then, what are you teaching?
So I substitute teach a little bit of everything, mostly middle school and high school. I really love the middle school doing particular subjects, mostly math and history, because those are kind of my 2 best subjects, and I can kind of help the kids throughout the day. At the high school, I sub a lot for the special education department, and I really enjoy that.
Good for you, yeah. So,
in fact, I actually just got a job a couple weeks ago. I was hired as a full-time para for one of the middle schools in town. So I'm going to do that during the days and still give me the freedom to do what I want to do and love to do at night with the after-hour show.
Nice, okay. That's awesome. Coming up next, guys, we will get into the PGA Tour. They announced some changes yesterday. We'll talk the tour a little bit, but also just where American sports is headed, plus what George Kittle had to say about the World Cup. That's coming up right here on Cody and Gold.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Bobby Witt Jr., and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
America is turning 250 this year, and Circus Sports is celebrating by offering all users in Missouri $250. Dane Hughes here, and for everyone in Missouri, all you have to do is deposit $250 on your Circus Sports app. Then play through that deposit. Once you do, Circus Sports will reward you with $250 right in your account. This is available for everyone in Missouri, new and existing users. Celebrate 250 years and find out more at circusports.com today. Must be 21 or older in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
think one of the things that patients don't realize is that when they get a joint replacement, that's not a lifetime treatment option. And they're probably, if they are a younger patient, signing up for multiple surgeries down the road.
As a physician and medical director for QC Kinetics, Dr. Caravelli's seen a pattern of trending joint pain. Prolonged medication, steroids, then surgery, possibly another surgery.
So a lot of our patients are trying to avoid or put off surgery, and this is the treatment that can help them do that.
QC Kinetics extracts your body's healing substances, concentrates them back into your aching joints to help heal and restore those areas, providing lasting relief.
Oh, I love being able to tell my patients, before we do this surgery, let's try another option. Let's see if this is right for you, because now they might not have to have surgery at all.
Call today for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Subaru, and it's time to make a big deal out of nothing. Announcing Lee Summit Subaru's 0% event. Get up to 0% on select 2026 Subaru models for up to 72 months. And we have the largest selection of Subaru certified vehicles in Kansas City, starting as low as 1.9% for 72 months. 0% event and a lifetime warranty. Fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru.
Based on January 2025 through June 2025 Kansas City inventory listings.
Hi, I'm Sam Silvio with M. Shamus Brazilian Grill in the village of Burlington Creek. What's the best way to describe M. Shamus? It's a feast. A 14-meat, full rodizio, and 30 choices at our famous hot and cold gourmet bar. More items than most any other Brazilian grill experience. Dine in or retreat to our Inferno bar for lighter fare, small plates, and the best wine and spirits. Or enjoy our patio dining. Go to mshamus.com and discover the joy of eating.
Onyx, I keep having stomach issues. Please make me a doctor's appointment.
Okay, are you suffering from diarrhea, bloating, gas, or oily stools? If so, you may want to ask your doctor if it could actually be a problem with your pancreas, called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI.
My pancreas? How is EPI treated?
A prescription medicine like Creon, pancrelipase, is used to treat people who can't digest food normally because their pancreas doesn't make enough enzymes. Creon is the #1 prescribed treatment for EPI.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you are allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor, and always with food. Do not chew capsules, as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon. You can learn more at 1-800-633-9110.
Before your appointment, visit creoninfo.com. That's CREON info.com.
At Liberty Mutual, we love helping people with things like customizing car insurance, just like how we customize a song for you. Catered country tune. Liberty Mutual, saving you bucks by protecting your truck. 'Cause Birdie told me to only pay for what I need. Thank you, Limu. I'll always trust a Nemu with Liberty, 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 Liberty.
Look who has extra pep in their step.
Well, I just finished my to-do list. Gas tank is full, tonight's dinner plans are set, grocery shopping is complete, and I even got everything for those barbecues and pool parties we have planned. You know what's even better?
What?
Every one of those stops gets me a bit of money back.
How are you doing that?
By using Upside.
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app where I earn cash back on gas, groceries, and dining out. They even gave me a cashback bonus on my first grocery trip.
So that extra pep comes from all that cash back. Looks like I need to download Upside.
You really do.
Earn cash back on errands and everyday essentials. Download Upside and use promo code SNAP5 to earn an extra $5 cash back on your first purchase at one of over 100,000 available locations. That's promo code SNAP5 for an extra $5 cash back. Remember, use promo code SNAP5.
Offers vary by user and location at participating merchants. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
Hey, it's Rob Britton, and now that the tournament has started here in Kansas City, we're keeping you up to date on Beyond the Pitch KC. So subscribe and download today. The podcast is presented by Commerce Bank. Visit commercebank.com/soccer26. Available on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Join 96.5 The Fan at the Peanut on State Line, Thursday, June 25th, as C-Dot and Rob broadcast live starting at 2, with kickoff to follow at 9 o'clock. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
11 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Goldger-Nixon producing the show. Logan Weber in for Cody today. We'll get to the trash of the day in about 20 minutes from now. Again, video stream up and running, YouTube, Twitch, X, and Facebook. Jay's Southlands Host Service text line 913-586-7965. We have a company picnic, I think they're calling it, right? Cookout, picnic, whatever going on at, was that start 11:30?
That sounds right. Yeah,
now?
11:30.
Because like Dusty's still here, Rob's here, everybody's kind of hanging out, and so there's a picnic going on, and we're gonna have to go down there at some point to check it out because we got an email yesterday about more of the details, and it mentioned from our boss saying something along the lines of essentially like, oh, looking forward to having Carrington grill for everybody, and we were like, wait, what is that? Whoa, Carrington's grilling for everybody? It says Sam and Carrington grilling. Like, okay, that's interesting. Then Carrington replied all the entire building actually, and said, I've never grilled a day in my life. I'm bringing a good attitude and a warm spirit. Now, this is why we need to go down there because I want to see if he's grilling or not. That is crazy that he's never grilled before. And I I go out to eat all the time, and so I'm bad about making my own food stuff. Grilling's just easy though. Grilling hot dogs, burgers, steak, grilled chicken, like I get if you want to say you've never smoked ribs or smoked a brisket. Maybe you don't have a smoker and that takes more work and more time, etc. But never put a burger on a grill. You've never been at a cookout or like around people like, oh, hey, can you watch the burgers for a second or whatever it may be. That's surprising to me.
That shocks me. Yeah, I mean, I'm only 28, and I mean, frankly, until March of last year, I'd only ever lived in apartments, and so grilling was never on the menu in an apartment complex when we were living in Springfield. But I mean, and until 6 months ago, I never owned a grill before. I got one for Christmas.
Do you grill now?
No, it's still in the box. But I have.
Wait, you bought the grill and you haven't opened it? It's summertime.
I had the boss told me that I couldn't open it until it warmed up, right? So I wanted to get it open in like February, March and start grilling. And let's wait till it gets a little bit warmer. It's June and we're in the middle of housing projects. So we're doing different renovations. We're changing out light fixtures and drywall. And so it's been just put on the back burner for quite a while now. But in the next couple weeks, I want to put it together. But I have grilled before. I mean, I can remember being a kid going, whether it was my dad grilling in the backyard or go to a friend's house or a family reunion. And yeah, you got your dad or your uncle or your cousin, somebody's on the grill and like, hey, can you watch this for 15 minutes? And, I know how to grill. I have grilled before. Yeah, that's a little bit surprising for C-Dot to have never grilled anything before, because you're right. It is pretty straightforward, especially if you're somebody like me that I don't want my burgers well done. I don't want any meat well done. I don't want it medium, medium rare at the most. I would prefer you just whisper the word cook at my food and give it to me. But if that's all you got to do, just put a steak on the grill, about 90 seconds each side, and hey, we're ready to go. It shocks me that he's never done it before.
Yeah, we'll get to that when one of us goes down there later on today to try. Again, we'll find out if he's actually grilling or not. Text line says, how have you not grilled your entire life? Someone says, I don't ever want to hear C-Dot talk about not being a man if you can't throw a football. He's 38, zero excuse not to have grilled before. I'm surprised. I'm definitely surprised. So we'll get there. We'll try out some of the I want the hamburger that Carrington grilled to find out. I want to see. We can critique it.
Oh, it's an experiment at this point. Have to. The hypothesis is that he's going to struggle to cook this burger on the grill. We got to find out what the actual experiment will tell us.
All right, let's talk about something the PGA Tour is doing. And we're not going to focus too much just on the golf end here. I think it could end up being interesting with sports moving forward. And that is the PGA Tour. They approved changes that aren't going to start until 2028, but they're going to create two series for what they're calling a more competitive structure. So they're going to have the Championship Series, which will be the Tour's top players, and then they're going to have this Challenger Series, which will be a pathway to the top tier, so this Championship Series. And then approximately 40 championship players will be at risk to drop to this lower level series called the Challenger Series, while a minimum of 20 players could earn promotion, and then they'll have a new postseason format as well. But basically, they're instituting relegation in golf, which I don't know if the diehard golf fans care. As someone that only watches the majors, this doesn't really matter to me. I only watch the Masters, and sometimes I don't even watch all the majors, mainly the Masters and the PGA Championship, honestly. I know the U.S. Open this past weekend with Wyndham Clark winning his second U.S. Open. So it's not even so much do we think this is great for golf, but is this the start of there being more acceptance to relegation in the United States? Because that's not a U.S. thing. We all know this is mainly an overseas soccer thing. Is that a possibility here? I don't think we'll ever see it in American football. Baseball doesn't make sense with the format, but is there any other sport in the U.S.? The answer, the easy one, would be relegation in American soccer and the MLS having relegation with another league or MLS 2 or
USL.
something. USL already exists, so something like that. Would that be a viable path? Would that work in the U.S., do you think? As U.S. sports fans, are we anti-relegation? I think for the most part we have been. We grew up without it.
Yeah, I think that the idea of it is interesting. I don't know how it can be practical. Because you think about relegation in, European soccer, well, easier to do when you've got teams across an entire continent. I don't know how the NBA or the NFL could ever institute something like relegation, because you'd have to have an exponential number more teams. The NBA would have to have
the G League teams, which that doesn't make any sense.
The talent is just such
awful.
Do we have enough talent to do that? You think we do?
You'd have to completely, in order to get relegation in a sport like the NFL or in the NBA, you'd have to straight up out of a video game do a fantasy draft to try to help with the talent disparity in the league, because I just can't see whatever Boston's G League team is, the Maine Red Claws or whatever they're called, going over and playing the Oklahoma City Thunder in a regular season game. There's just no way to do that with the way that the sport is currently formatted.
The way that it would work, though, is like soccer, if they want to get rid of tanking, that solves the tanking problem. You'll never have tanking ever again. Tanking will not exist. Tanking will be gone. For sure, 100%. You just have like the bottom 3 teams get relegated. It would be, even if you're bad, you still survive. As it so would there be said in? I think in the NBA, the NBA is the only league where it actually could work. The NFL, no chance. Baseball, no chance. The NBA is the only one. I think it's a waste of time to do it in the NBA. But if you want to solve tanking and you want to make it a must-watch for a team that stinks, and actually trying to see them survive and everything like that, then I think it's worth having. But I think we should only have it in soccer. I don't even think we should have it in golf. I think this concept is kind of weird, but I think soccer is the only one where it should happen if it does.
The one that is what's hard to fathom for me, and I'm guessing it's happened in Premier League when a team gets relegated and they have a nice venue already, and then now they're in a lower level and I'm just trying to think of, imagine if you were the Sacramento Kings, and their arena's fairly new, right? It's only within 5 years or something like that. It's fairly new. Imagine they build this new arena. 3 years later, you get relegated. So then you have this 18,000 seat beautiful arena, and you're playing in this lower level. Meanwhile,
that happens.
Meanwhile, and I know it does in the EPL. These teams have smaller venue. Could you imagine though? Then you have some small, let's just call the Tulsa whatever, playing in a small arena, and now LeBron James is coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma, with a 7,000 seat arena. I just don't. It's hard to fathom in America, which is how we are as sports fans, with that working. But that's I know that happens in the EPL, where there's some tiny venues now that they're hosting Man City or whoever, it happens.
Yep. Yeah, Bournemouth I think only seats 12,000, something like that, compared to the 5 times that's at the Etihad or whatever it is. So the NBA, it could happen in the NBA. There's enough talent where it could work. But is it going to happen? No. It would solve tanking though. If you want to get rid of tanking, then that would single-handedly solve tanking, and there would be something to talk about outside of just the teams that are making the playoffs. How about the teams that are trying to survive staying in the league? There'd be more to talk about from that standpoint, too. The draft would be the interesting part of the whole conversation, though.
How would you do that?
What happens with the draft? I don't know if you would just get rid of the draft, if that's how it would kind of work. But, yeah, that almost happened to Tottenham. Somebody mentioned this year. Tottenham were on the precipice of getting relegated after they just built their brand new stadium.
Did they or they didn't, though?
No, they survived, but they barely survived, which And I mean, the way it works too is, at least with soccer, if you get promoted, you get an influx of money, like hundreds of millions of
They
dollars.
give you like a bonus or something, basically?
Yeah, like if you win the EPL, you get like tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars to automatically have and go and spend traditionally because there's a draft on the transfer window, everything like that. So it would be interesting if the NBA could do it. They do it in others, in Europe, they have promotion and relegation in basketball in some leagues. So it's possible. I just don't think it would happen in America, but soccer should have it. I mean, they're switching to the European calendar. Why not open up the transfer window at the right time?
Sporting
and
would be in trouble this year.
That's the thing. Like we're talking about the idea of relegation, and I don't dislike the premise. There's just, in my opinion, no way to do it because you keep talking about European soccer, you keep talking about European basketball. Europe, it's an entire continent. There are 55 countries that included in the UEFA format. You know, hundreds upon hundreds, even thousands of teams that could be involved in these different leagues that are getting promoted, that are getting relegated. The United States, you can't do that. In order to have relegation be a part of the NBA or the NFL or the NHL, it's going to have to expand beyond the United States and parts of Canada. You're going to have to include other North American countries, and I don't know how you
like
could
the Mexican
possibly
basketball
do it.
league and all these other.
I don't know how you can do that. There's only there's a finite amount of cities, I believe, in the United States that could withstand having all of these different teams. I mean, how many cities in the United States do you believe could withstand an NBA, NFL, NHL, and MLB team all at the same time? If that's
you don't need to have all those though.
I feel like you're going to have
in order for it to work. Like with soccer, I don't think that has to happen. If the USL and MLS wanted to bond together and create, relegation and promotion, I don't think that has to happen. If you get what I'm saying, I don't think they need to worry as much about the expansion or what have you of teams necessarily, because there's 30 teams in MLS. If you take the top two leagues in the USL and bind them together, you're talking over 50, if not over 60 teams that are there, and then you just have promotion and relegation. Like I think in the Premier League, there's only 20 teams. In the Championship, there's only 20. So there's 40 teams that are in the top two leagues in Europe. So for it to work with soccer, I think they could easily do it. It's just a matter of, I don't know, whether or not they want to do it. I mean, also MLS has the playoffs. The Americanized version of soccer is totally different than anything else. So they'd have to scrap the playoffs, which I think would be better for the sport personally, but I don't think they're going to get rid of the MLS playoffs.
A lot of people on the text line have texted in about like college football and like almost had
that would be a disaster.
The Big Ten and the SEC. They would never happen, never go for it. But like this idea of like you're going to get relegated from the Big 12 down to the MAC.
Florida State would have been relegated 2 years ago, by the way.
Yeah, and the power brokers would just. By the way, out of all sports, I would actually say college football is the least likely of it ever happening. They can't get on the same page with like stuff that should be simple in college football. You think that if you're the Big Ten, any of those schools are going to agree to suddenly open themselves up to relegation? Are you kidding me?
It's
no
also,
chance.
The thing that's different too is that the Premier League is not all of Europe. That's like UEFA. I don't think it's just a league. Like the Premier, like all of the individual countries have their own league still. So like England has a ton of divisions, but the main ones are like the top four. There's 20 clubs in the Premier League. There's 20 in the Championship, and then from there you go to 24 with League One and League Two. But to jump that is MLS has 30, and I mean that's how you would probably start. Maybe you eventually funnel to do something differently, but I mean you get rid of the conferences. You have a table, and maybe it's instead of it being 3 teams that get relegated, since there's so many teams in MLS, you get 5 teams that get relegated. And I know that means KC might get relegated, but I think in terms of care for the team, if Sporting, let's say the next 5 years, Sporting were bottom of the league, irrelevant, it didn't matter. I think actually it would matter. The club would matter more to the city if they got relegated, because you would want to see them fight back to get to the top. I think more people would be invested in Sporting if there was relegation, actually, instead of the team just being bottom of MLS and nothing ever changes for them.
By the way, let's get another tournament scoreboard update here, brought to you by Surfside, made with real vodka and zero bubbles. It's not a seltzer. It's Surfside. Must be 21. Please drink responsibly. Loaded slate today, all starting at 2 o'clock. We've got double headers, or I guess 2 games going on at once throughout. That's because it's the final group stage. So they're going to make sure that the results aren't impacting each other. So Bosnia and Qatar at 2, Switzerland, Canada also at 2. They're both in the same group. And then Morocco and Haiti, Scotland, Brazil at 5 o'clock. And then 2 late games tonight, Czechia and Mexico. Mexico, remember, they've already won the group, but they're taking on Czechia. And then the last game, South Africa and South Korea, also at 8 o'clock. Those are the slate of games taking place today. We'll get to the trash of the day in about 5 minutes or so. And thinking of the World Cup a little bit, George Kittle, who, of course, is down at tight end U. It grows every year. I don't know if you saw the video that Taylor Swift had like a surprise performance at tight end U last night. That was a big deal for them. And he was asked at one point just about the World Cup. And he was on, I think it was Pardon My Take, actually. And they were talking about the World Cup and what we've all noticed, which is, the fields are all uniform, right? Arrowhead had to make adjustments. The grass at Arrowhead is the same grass they're playing on in San Francisco or wherever, right? In LA, right? It's everybody's playing on the same exact grass. So it can be done. And that was basically his point, which is we all know at MetLife it's been a heavily criticized venue in the NFL because it's caused all these injuries and it's turf and it's a mess. And, a lot of these stadiums, including likely new Arrowhead, are not going to be a natural grass surface. And George Kittle was on Pardon My Take and said, quote, if you can put grass in MetLife and in SoFi, I think you do that year round if you really gave a bleep. I mean, that's my opinion. I think if you've polled every single player, I would probably say 90% would prefer a grass field, and I'd say 10% would say they don't care. But 90% of guys that prefer to play on grass, and so it's just like, well, you just show that you can do it, so then why don't we do it? Because that's what the players want to do. And this debate is heated up more. It is all about money.
Yes.
And it's because these new stadiums that are built, in addition to football, they want the year-round concerts. It's way easier to turn over a venue the next night for a Taylor Swift concert when it's artificial playing surface versus natural grass. And that's the reality. I agree with George Kittle that clearly we know it can be done because they used to always play on natural grass. Like, of course, way back when it was AstroTurf, but then everybody was in grass for a while, and then we've gone to this hybrid turf or artificial turf that everybody's using.
Yeah, we see Kansas City do it. I mean, when you see Kenny Chesney or Garth Brooks or Taylor Swift come to Kansas City and they play at Arrowhead, they seem to do it just fine. It is a poorly executed cost-cutting measure. That's all it is. You throw in the artificial turf, you don't have to pay a grounds crew to keep it maintained 6 to 8 to 9 months a year, right? That's you don't have to have the sprinkler systems installed. The drainage works a little bit better. You're mostly worried about, this chunk of the turf's bad, take it out, replace it with a new chunk, and make sure the rubber pellets are in place. It's a much easier thing to maintain, and it's much cheaper to maintain it, although the cost up front is quite a bit higher. And you're exactly right. And I don't know how much of it is turf versus natural grass that's causing these injuries, because I agree with what George Kittle is saying, but it kind of falls on deaf ears coming from a guy who plays for the San Francisco 49ers, who plays at Levi Stadium, which is for some reason causing more injuries than anywhere
it's the substation
right now.
Stuff.
Whatever it
might
might
be. Which they've claimed now that it's not, so I don't know.
The Niners are dealing with way more injuries seemingly than any other NFL team, and they play on natural grass. I think that football is better when it's played on natural grass. When you're having to deal with the rain muddying up the field and the grass it's harder to get traction and all these things. And I agree with the sentiment. I don't know. It sort of feels like my sentiment isn't that I hate turf because it's more dangerous than grass, because I don't necessarily believe that to be the case. I just think that it is a better playing surface for what football is inherently as a sport. And it's shameful for front offices and owners to once again be using any cost-cutting measure they possibly can while raking in tens of hundreds of millions of dollars from their organizations year after year.
Yeah, it's all the other events that they want to have, and that's what's led ultimately to them going away from the natural playing surface. I other than the players going through a CBA negotiation and saying definitively, like, hey, we have it written in stone, NFL playing surfaces have to be natural grass. I don't think all the public pressure in the world is not going to cause MetLife to switch to natural grass. It would have to be something that the players fought for in the next round of CBA. It's like, is that the fight you want to have? Is it worth it? Maybe it is. I don't know. Is that the big fight you want to have when you're arguing about an extra game and you're arguing about international games and the double buys or not having double buys? You're going to really be like, all right, well, please give us the natural grass back. I mean, I don't know if that's where they want to devote their time, but that's probably what it would take to get all NFL stadiums back to a natural grass surface or to one.
It's the only way to get the owners to listen. I mean, they're going to do what they believe is best for them and their organizations, and especially with all these domed stadiums that have come into fruition here in the last couple of decades and will continue on with the Chiefs' new stadium, with whatever the Bears are going to be doing, whether it's moving to Indiana or trying to find something near Chicago. They're going to be domed stadiums, and a dome stadium does make it harder to maintain natural grass. And the owners are all about what's going to put the most money in their pocket and what's going to be the easiest for them to take care of, and that's turf. So, yeah, a CBA that includes natural grass is really the only way to go about it, but that seems like a really interesting hill to die on, considering, like you mentioned, all the other things that Goodell and the NFL and the ownership group is trying to push onto the players that they do not agree with.
All right, let's get to it. It's time for the trash of the day.
Trash of the day.
We go to Florida for this one, of course, Logan.
Always.
St. Augustine. I don't know. I guess it's outside of Jacksonville. So, during a post-game dispute between pickleball players, I don't know if you play a little pickleball or not.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, you do. Okay. All right, I don't know if you've ever seen this happen. So, there was an incident at the courts at the end of May. It resulted in the filing of a felony case against a 47-year-old nurse. According to court records, during one doubles game on Sunday, a dispute arose between players about the retrieval of a ball. Upon completion of the match, this gentleman went to speak with the defendant's son regarding critique of his playing style. This guy, who is a regular, devoted pickleball player and member of the St. Augustine Pickleball Group, police say that during the course of the dispute, this guy and her son, the nurse, interjected herself into the argument and then struck the victim in the head several times with a pickleball paddle, leaving injury to his face that caused several cuts and a large amount of blood. When cops responded to the pickleball court, she allegedly provided them with a fake name. That's because she's a licensed nurse practitioner who lives 2 miles. When questioned by police, she claimed she was defending her son. However, officers report there did not appear, based on victim and witness statements, to be imminent threat to anybody's life, limb, or property, or propensity of violence about to occur. She has a master's degree from the University of Alabama, served in the Marine Corps, and she was arrested this month. Named June 11th, felony information charging with aggravated battery and providing cops with a false statement. She's free on $8,000 bond. All over pickleball because her son, she didn't like that this guy was arguing with her son, I guess, about the rules. So she went up and smacked him with a pickleball paddle a few times.
Seems like a rational reaction, right? Yeah, let's throw away a nurse practitioner job. Let's throw away a master's degree over pickleball. Like, I get being competitive, and I am as competitive a person as you can find, right? I mean, I have a tendency to get really upset with myself rather than with other people. The fact that this had nothing to do with her. Like, he was having a conversation, okay, if you want to call it an argument, he was having an argument with your son, had nothing to do with you. And rather than go over there and try to let cooler heads prevail, try to play devil's advocate, try to calm tempers, you start swinging a pickleball paddle like it's a hammer. For what reason? Over a pickleball game. Unbelievable. And like, they have pictures of both of these people involved, the victim as well as the woman who's charged. This is bizarre to look at.
Are pickleball players turning into like the new CrossFit? Remember when CrossFit first started? Like, everybody, the whole vibe around that. It feels like pickleball's venturing down that road as well.
It does. And I think a lot of that stems from the fact that it's older people, right? Like, this woman's 47 years old. The victim was 50. It's people that have, that maybe did athletics when they were younger, that as you got older, it's hard to play basketball when you get into your 30s and 40s. It's harder to play tennis when you get into your 30s and 40s if you're not doing it every day. Pickleball is the kind of sport, like golf a little bit, that you can play throughout your entire lifetime because the court's very small. It takes some lateral quickness, but it's an easy sport on your joints and on your muscles to play deep into your life. So it's these people that weren't physical, like weren't competitive for 15, 20 years, that have all this pent-up anger and aggression, and they're letting it out in the most absurd ways possible.
But look, she obviously should never have hit him with the racket, the paddle. But what was this guy arguing? What is this guy arguing over the kid's playing style to begin with? All of that, like the whole thing.
Apparently, yeah. The victim went to speak, quote, with the defendant's son regarding critique of his playing style.
What was he playing too slow?
I don't know what to tell you, man. Apparently, the St. Augustine pickleball group is incredibly competitive, in case you weren't aware.
I guess. Pickleball. Causing people to get hit with paddles now and felony charges. That is the trash of the day. Up next, we get to the Chiefs Red Half Hour and looking back at Chiefs history a little bit. Plus, in that one wide receiver that surprised us, looking back at an all-time Chiefs team. And you don't think the Chiefs are going to do something over the next couple months. We'll tell you what that is next here on Cody and Gold.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
The world's biggest soccer tournament has arrived, and you can trade the entire tournament on Kalshi. On Kalshi, you can trade every match from the opening stage all the way to the final. Maybe you're looking for something local. Algeria versus Austria. Currently, if you're saying, hey, you know what? The team over in LFK, what do I like for them? Well, Algeria currently trading at 25%, meaning a $100 trade, could show you a $365 profit. On Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there is no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. For a limited time only, download the Kalshi app and use code TAPP, T-A-P-P, to get $10 when you trade 10. K-A-L-S-H-I, Kalshi. Trade the beautiful game. 18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory.
Feeling the squeeze of high prices? Then stretch your budget this Friday through Sunday at Hy-Vee. Stock up and save big with 99-cent deals throughout the store. Get special recipe brats, pork loin ribeye, Dole salad kits, and more for just 99 cents. Fill your cart for less with red-hot deals on hundreds of items. Order online or through the Hy-Vee app and leave the shopping to us. Don't miss the 99-cent sale this weekend only at Hy-Vee.
Soccer Fever is in Kansas City, and Hy-Vee is your headquarters for official merchandise, apparel, tailgate, and watch party needs. And Hy-Vee makes game day so easy. They have ready-to-go wings, pizza, party trays, charcuterie, and of course all those delicious sweet treats. If you're planning a cookout, great. Hy-Vee special recipe brats, burgers, and steaks are the best. Check out their match day meat bundle for only $30. And don't forget about Hy-Vee's wine and spirits department. For all of your game day needs, count on Hy-Vee.
Hi, I'm Katie, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. Daydreaming about bringing your engagement ring vision to life? As a jewelry consultant, I'm here to help. Compare ring styles side by side. They're in stock and ready to try on. Then customize it with an engraving or decorative crown. At Shane Company, there are so many ways to create your dream ring at your dream price. Visit us in-store or at shaneco.com, because a friend wants you to get exactly what you want. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
This 4th of July, light up the night with Freedom Family Fireworks. We're family owned and packed with the biggest deals of the season. Get buy one, get one free specials. Grab the Godfather assortment for just $5.99 and get free Excalibur shells when you spend $250 or more. With locations in Liberty, Lee Summit, Pleasant Hill, Cameron, Chillicothe, and our air-conditioned superstore at Highway 291 and 210 just before the Missouri River. Visit freedomfamilyfireworks.com. Then stop by your nearest Freedom Family Fireworks location today. While supplies last, see store for details.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Subaru, and it's time to make a big deal out of nothing. Announcing Lee Summit Subaru's 0% event. Get up to 0% on select 2026 Subaru models for up to 72 months. And we have the largest selection of Subaru certified vehicles in Kansas City, starting as low as 1.9% for 72 months. 0% event and a lifetime warranty. Fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru.
Based on January 2025 through June 2025 Kansas City inventory listings.
Hi, I'm Sam Silvio with M. Shamus Brazilian Grill in the village of Burlington Creek. What's the best way to describe M. Shamus? It's a feast. A 14-meat, full rodizio, and 30 choices at our famous hot and cold gourmet bar. More items than most any other Brazilian grill experience. Dine in or retreat to our Inferno bar for lighter fare, small plates, and the best wine and spirits. Or enjoy our patio dining. Go to mshamus.com and discover the joy of eating.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
If you're only good to your new friends, you're not going to have any old ones. Straight Talk gets it. That's why new and existing customers get free 5G phones on Verizon's 5G network. Pretty simple, really. You keep good people by being good people.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
If you own a business, you've heard it all. From fast funding to easy approvals, everyone says the same thing. LendSeek is different. We show you what you actually qualify for. LendSeek's AI-enabled platform matches you with funding options with no guesswork. Up to $5 million in as fast as 24 hours. If you've been in business over a year, doing at least $50,000 per month, apply for free with zero out-of-pocket costs and access to over 100 lenders. Start ready, stay ready. Lendseek.com. LENDSEEK.com.
Your summer food game is only as strong as what you're working with. This July 4th at Lowe's, get up to 45% off select major appliances and save up to an additional 25% off when you bundle select major appliances. Plus, save $50 on a select Pit Boss DX Smart Electric Smoker, now $249. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 6/24 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for more details.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like customer service associate at a dry cleaning shop.
Yeah, hi. I'm here to pick up my suit.
Ah, yes. Here you go.
There must be a mistake. This is too small.
It shrunk a whole lot. Look on the bright side. Now you have a suit you can give to a child.
This is time for sponsored jobs. This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this. Come score the shirt with 96.5 The Fan as we'll be in the Lightwell office building at 11th and Main in downtown KC Mo every Wednesday between 11 and 1 during the World Soccer Championship, giving away shirts, gift cards, and more. Lightwell, managed by Area, owned by Samara Road. Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
All right, it is the Chiefs Red Half Hour. You can hit us up on the J. Southland Tow Service text line, 913-586-7965. Here in about 8 minutes, we'll get to something that you don't think is going to happen the rest of the offseason for Kansas City Logan. So we'll find out what that is. But the folks over at Pro Football Focus, and I know we all have mixed feelings about PFF. I told you I value it more for offensive line than I do any other position. But I think it is I think it's interesting that the Pro Football Focus did their 20 years worth of NFL data. So the first year of PFF started, believe it or not, back in 2006. And it really picked up, though, in the last decade, I would say, with fan recognition of PFF. But they went through, they did this based off of their data, their grades, and came up with the Chiefs all PFF team since 2006. So keep that in mind if you're wondering why somebody else is not on this. It is just 2006 to present. So no surprise, of course, the quarterback is Patrick Mahomes. Duh. All right. Halfback, no surprise, I would say as well. It's Jamal Charles. I think those are two obvious ones. Where it gets interesting is the wide receiver room, and it puts into perspective where the wide receiver history has been in the last 20 years for this team. So the wide receiver spots they list, Tyreek Hill, Sure. Dwayne Bowe, and their slot wide receiver, Rashee Rice, who's been on the team only since 2023 and hasn't had multiple thousand yard, 1,200-yard seasons or anything necessarily. And then, of course, the tight ends they list too. It's Kelsey and Gonzalez, Eric Fisher, left tackle, Joe Tooney, left guard, Creed, center, Trey Smith, right guard, and Mitchell Schwartz, right tackle, the best right tackle in the last 20 years for this football team. We were having the conversation in the 10 o'clock hour just about wide receivers and all that. This goes well before Andy Reid and well before Brett Veach as well. Now, Tyreek Hill, sensational. Dwayne Bowe still holds a lot of records in Chiefs history. And then Rashee Rice. The fact that Rashee Rice is already on a last 20-year all-PFF Chiefs team, that says a lot about the Chiefs' track record of that position. I mean, who else are you going to put on there, though? Sammy Watkins? I mean, who else are you going to put on the list?
Sammy Watkins was a thought. The 1 year that Jeremy Maclin was healthy in Kansas City was a thought. Initially, I was like, well, what about Eddie Kinnison? But his last year with the Chiefs was actually in 2007, and he only played in like 4 games. So he doesn't really apply to this situation. I mean, shoot, can we just put Travis Kelce as the slot wide receiver and let Tony Gonzalez play tight end and just, only carry 2 wide receivers on the team? Yeah, it's frankly jarring. I mean, since in the last 20 years, if we're looking purely at wide receivers, right, in Chiefs uniforms, Dwayne Bowe, Tyreek Hill, Mecole Hardman has the 3rd most receiving yards by a Chiefs wide receiver since 2006. I'm not making that up. It's Mecole Hardman. And 4th is Rashee Rice.
Yeah, Mecole Hardman's 22nd all-time in franchise history in receiving yards. That's just receiving. That's tight ends, wide receivers, and running backs for the record, right? Like Jamal Charles is even higher on the list than Mecole Hardman is for that. But yeah, we're talking just wide receivers in the case that you're bringing up. It does speak to just the issue that they actually have had in franchise history in the last 20 years is finding legitimate number 1 wide receivers.
Yeah, I do not like the idea of Rashee Rice being the slot wide receiver on this all-time last 20 years Chiefs team.
He's got 1,800 yards as a Chief. That's it. He's got 1,800 yards in his Chiefs career, his NFL career. That's it. In 2 years or 3, soon be 3 years, right? Like, yeah. I mean, that's crazy. But I get it. I mean, who else are you putting on that list in the last 20 years ahead of him? And you really can't. Sammy Watkins may have done more during a playoff run or whatever it might be, but like that's not what this is about. This is more about the all-time wide receivers in the last 20 years in Chiefs history.
Yeah, it's a tough one to swallow. I mean, Rashee Rice has 100 more yards than DeMarcus Robinson had with the Chiefs. Like, that's how close think about Rashee Rice being on this team is one thing. Think about how close DeMarcus Robinson was to being considered for this last 20 years Chiefs team, according to Pro Football Focus.
The other part of this that I thought was kind of interesting was, so you go through and you wonder how many of the guys are still on the roster, right? Obviously, Patrick Mahomes, Rashee Rice, Travis Kelce, your center is Trey Smith. So you've got 2 offensive linemen, a receiver, and a tight end and a quarterback that are still on this, that are present day among the 20. Then you go over the defensive side of the ball. So here was this is their all PFF last 20-year Chiefs defense. So Chris Jones, we all know he's still active. Mike DeVito, okay, he was as the second interior defensive lineman.
That is a name I have not thought about probably since 2015.
Nose tackle Dontari Poe, which makes sense over the last 20 years. Justin Houston, Tamba. Derek Johnson, then Nick Bolton does make this. Then at corner, Brandon Flowers, Brandon Carr, Trent McDuffie makes it in as a slot corner, and then your safeties Eric Berry, Tyrann Mathieu. I thought that was interesting on the defensive end, or the secondary, I should say, for this defense, because among that group, Chris Jones, Nick Bolton, and then Trent McDuffie are the only active players. Well, not even Trent McDuffie's not active anymore, but we're part of this run, and now you're down to just on that defensive side. Doesn't that make sense why when we think about how they resource allocation for this offseason, that only 2 players would make that team? This is a new look defense. Nick Bolton and Chris Jones is it from the last 20 years of what is considered one of the best. They have to have this new crop of talent. George Karlaftis is not making this list, not with the production that he's had.
And frankly, looking at this defense, the first thing that I thought of, shout out to Steve Spagnuolo and Dave Merritt and this defensive coaching staff for this revolving door of guys. I mean, a lot of these guys played a factor in those. Tyrann Mathieu and Trent McDuffie were a part of some of these Super Bowl teams. Justin Houston got out right as the Chiefs were really starting to get there, and Chris Jones. And I would also argue there's some guys that I feel like.
How's Brandon Carr? Look, I don't want to. Brandon Carr was very good for the short period of time as in Kansas City, but Brandon Carr's on there over a couple other players.
Over L'Jarius Sneed,
Marcus
over
Peters,
Jalen Watson. Marcus Peters was the first thought I had. I know Marcus Peters was really boom or bust. Some people loved him, some people hated him because it felt like he was either getting a pick or it was going to be a touchdown because he decided to play the ball. He undercut a lot of routes, and certainly there were some headaches that followed with Marcus Peters. I don't know how Brandon Carr gets on this list before either of those three names that I just mentioned, but it really just makes me very much appreciative of the job that Steve Spagnuolo has done with a bevy of different guys. What about Charvarius Ward? He obviously had better years since he left Kansas City and went to San Francisco. That's when he got his All-Pro nod, but they've had a litany of different guys that have come in and contributed to this Chiefs team over this dynastic run they've been on that makes it hard to throw some of these guys on this list. Brandon Carr played 4 years for the Kansas City Chiefs. There have been a lot of guys that they brought in who have been, Kendall Fuller was one that they brought in who was a big-time contributor for only a couple of years before he left. And what do? Rather than rebuild, they retool. They go and find the next guy. So it really makes me appreciative of what Steve Spagnuolo's done for this defense. The fact that there aren't that many Steve Spagnuolo players that are mentioned on this last 20-year defense.
The point someone on the text line was trying to make is they said, hey, look, the 20 years that this article is talking about, and those are the wide receivers and everything. They said they won 2 Super Bowls, technically 3 actually, but I think they mean without 1 year. They mean 2 without Tyreek Hill is I think what they mean. But they said that's why I fail to see the importance of wide receiver. Now, when Kelsey's gone, it's definitely going to have to change. I think that's the question I think we all have is you've been able to get by with a average, at times, wide receiver core, to say the least, maybe below average in some cases, because you've had essentially a wide receiver at tight end that's the best of all time, and Travis Kelce. And so, when you advance to 2027 and we all think Kelsey's probably not around, I don't think you can have that same balance. I don't think you can say, we can have an average wide receiver room and an average tight end. No, you've had an above average elite Hall of Fame tight end and at times average wide receiver play. Something's going to have to give in the future. I agree with the texter's point about what they've done, but I think it changes drastically whenever the day comes that Travis Kelce hangs them up.
It's got to be addressed. He's got to have that safety valve. He's got to have a weapon, right? Because we've seen him win Super Bowls with little to no weapons, but he always had Travis Kelce as that guy he could go to. Okay, that internal clock's at 4 seconds. It's at 5 seconds. He's done his Mahomes magic in the backfield to extend the play. He's got to have that guy that he's like, you know what? Bleep it. He's down there somewhere. And when Kelce hangs it up, I don't see this Chiefs team having that guy, barring Xavier Worthy finally flourishing in year 3 with not to be rude, competent wide receivers coach to help guide him.
I think it's pretty evident that
until that happens, though, I can't say with any real confidence that Mahomes is going to have that once Travis Kelce is done. You have to be able to find that guy. I'm not saying you need to load Mahomes up with half a dozen different weapons, especially with the addition of Kenneth Walker now in the backfield. I feel like you have a competent running game for the first time since Kareem Hunt's first tenure in Kansas City ended. But you can't just throw the balls out and say, hey, Mahomes, go figure out how to get your guys to play better. It can't always be Mahomes raising the level of the guys around him. Sometimes it's got to be about those guys meeting the talent that Mahomes has at his disposal.
Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll get to what's trending, and then we'll also get right back into the Royals, talk more about Jack Caglione, who had 2 more home runs yesterday, 6 in his last 5 games, and also on another note, the Cole Reagans update we got yesterday. So we'll talk some Royals baseball here in 15 minutes or so. But you brought up something to me pre-show, and you were saying, hey, I don't think this is going to happen the rest of the summer. I said, okay, you and I are on opposite sides of that. So what do you not think will happen for the Chiefs the rest of the offseason?
Well, the conversation has continued to be, even before the L'Jarius Sneed signing and bringing him back to Kansas City, was that, well, the Chiefs have got to go get more. They got to go find another edge rusher. And that the smoke to that was Cam Jordan, and then that fell apart. And now it seemingly has shifted to the wide receiver room. A Stephon Diggs, a Tyreek Hill, a Deebo Samuel. Bring in some veteran free agent wide receiver to try to help this offense. Because, like we said, not a lot of faith in Rashee Rice right now. Xavier Worthy, people are skeptical on. I don't think it's going to happen before the season starts. And not because I don't think the Chiefs want to do it. I just don't know where the money's going to come from right now. I know you can restructure Creed Humphrey and all these different things. That feels like a situation that may be more of a benefit to them next offseason than this offseason. If you were going to restructure Creed Humphrey, why didn't you do it in March? Why didn't you do it in April? Why would you wait this long to try to make this happen? It feels to me like a situation where if the Chiefs are going to bring in a pass catcher, it's going to be, number one, via a trade of some kind, whether it's trying to kick the tires on like a Marvin Harrison Jr. with the Arizona Cardinals, or I would say more likely maybe a Brian Thomas Jr. in Jacksonville, or you're going to wait, take your time, be patient, see what the rehab process looks like for Tyreek Hill after a second surgery this offseason, and say by week 6, week 8 of the regular season, he feels like he's ready to go. He can come in and contribute. Okay, then you sign him to a deal for half a season, sort of go out and prove it before you become a free agent next offseason. I just can't see. I can't see a path right now with this Chiefs team, barring a restructuring of somebody in damn near July, which makes no sense. To bring in another weapon.
But that does happen, though, right? We see with the Chiefs, we've seen that play out before. I'm with you that now that Cam Jordan signed, I don't think they're bringing in a defensive lineman anymore, other than some random veteran that's just going to be there at camp. They always like. Well, who was the Shelton guy that they brought in randomly like during camp? That the jersey barely fit on him or whatever. Remember that from a couple years ago?
Yeah, the defensive lineman.
I forgot his first name already. Shelton. You know who I'm talking
about.
Played
for the Vikings, I want to say, right? At one point.
I don't know why I want to keep calling him Danny Shelton, but I don't know. Anyway, point being. They might bring in somebody like that. I still think a wide receiver vet at some point is getting brought in later on. And if you're saying they can't because of the financials, you and I both know they can move some money around.
Is it Danny Shelton?
Thank you.
That's what it was. 20. Yeah. First round pick. He was the 12th overall pick back in 2015.
That's the same guy?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
He was the 12th overall pick in 2015 from the drafted by the Browns and just bounced around.
I still think there's a vet. Now, maybe it's Tyreek Hill and it's end of camp and he's not available really, and they put him on the PUP list and he's not available to October or November. I think that's a possibility. I don't know if that counts as your off-season signing for you or not. But my guess is there will be somebody like that gets signed still. And in the financials, if they really think they need somebody, Tyreek Hill or Stephon Diggs or Deebo Samuel's name came up on Monday because there was an article. ESPN was predicting the final offseason move for every team, and they predicted Deebo to Kansas City. They predicted Stephon Diggs to the Raiders. They predicted Tyreek Hill to the Commanders. So it was like this whole circle of the guys we're talking about, but all kind of switching spots a little bit.
It's a revolving door, I guess, just a merry-go-round for those guys. But I mean, I don't hate the idea. I mean, the fit of Deebo Samuel is kind of intriguing for Kansas City. I don't know how
we were saying a couple years ago. I don't know now if he fits as much. He's a name. He's definitely a name.
Yeah. And I mean, Stephon Diggs, he's intriguing, but he fits the same mold of Rashee Rice, in my opinion, in this revolving door of slot receivers that the Chiefs have picked over the years. I think Deebo brings a different level of versatility. Maybe you can get back to some of that jet sweep kind of stuff that Mahomes was doing early on in his career with Tyreek Hill and McCole Hardman. But you're right. I mean, he's on the wrong side of 30 at this point, but coming off of a pretty solid year. He played in 16 games for the Commanders, had close to, just under 800, I think, total to all-purpose yards last year and 6 touchdowns. I just think that Stephon Diggs is probably the best of the three right now, considering the injury history and the year that he had last year. But he just seems like he's a different font, but the same size, the same.
See, that's how I feel about Deebo a little bit, though, because to me, they can have Xavier Worthy on jet sweeps and line him up in the backfield and some of the stuff that we've seen in the past from Deebo Samuel. But Deebo was productive last year, in fairness, right? He had over 700 yards with the Commanders. Someone says, wouldn't mind a flyer on Brandon Ayuk. We've talked about him. I think all of us on this show have said, like, does this guy want to play football still? And currently, remember, he's under contract with the Niners. So what's going to happen there? He's a total wild card.
Yeah, I'm not interested in the Chiefs giving up draft capital in order to acquire Brandon Ayuk. Not even a little bit. And I understand he can be an incredible talent, but he has been nothing but a headache for the San Francisco 49ers last year. And we've continued to talk about all this draft capital the Chiefs have for next year and trying to address the offense, address the wide receiver room. You only have 6 picks to begin with, or 7, I think now, because you lost the 7th round pick. I do not want to see them give up a 3rd round pick, one of those 3rd round picks, to take Brandon Ayuk when that could be used to find a second receiver. I wouldn't either.
That would be, wow. I don't know. Yeah, is there a team out there that's willing to give up a 3rd at this point for Brandon Ayuk?
Are the Niners willing to let Ayuk go for less than a 3rd round pick?
Yeah, if they want to save some money, maybe, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. It's bizarre. We'll see how that plays out. Someone on the text line did ask, they said, have you guys tried Carrington's Burgers yet? No, we haven't. Maybe during the break we can try to run down there. I don't know. The issue is we only have like 5 minutes or so in between segments, and we got to get all the way downstairs to the parking lot, the back corner of the parking lot, go and grab it, come back up here. Maybe we can rush down there and try to take him. I don't know. Is he actually grilling? If you're wondering why someone asked this, we have a company picnic going on, which is cool. But they sent an email yesterday and talking about the events of the day. And the boss said, okay, and Carrington will be grilling because she thought he was grilling based on a photo that was sent out a week or so ago. Carrington replied and said, quote, I've never grilled a day in my life, which everybody was floored by. And so now we all want to see him grill and want to try the hamburger. It's hard to really screw it up unless you're lose track of it and it burn the burger, right? And it's dry and crispy or whatever, I don't know. I actually do think we should go during the break, run down there, see if Carrington grilled any of the burgers, bring them up here and give it a taste test,
Something tells me, because he's on co-grilling duties with Sam Stevie, who's the producer for
Sam
Dana
will take
and Parks.
care of it, though.
Something tells me that Sam is actually the one operating the grill, and Carrington is providing a tremendous amount of moral support.
I want Carrington in the full-blown apron and everything, and taking with embroidered. It says CDOT on the front. Yeah,
give me the hat.
All of it.
Grilling it up or whatever, something embroidered on the chef's hat he's rocking.
Hamburger sounds pretty good right now, I'll be honest. Well, it is lunchtime. It sounds pretty decent, but I don't know if Carrington grilling. Someone says we give Cody grief for actually being able to cook, but we're just okay trying CDOT's burgers. Well, the whole point is we're floored that he's never grilled, and he's serious. Nothing, not a hot dog, not a burger, not steaks, nothing. Ever.
I'm fully prepared for this thing to taste like a hockey puck.
I think if Sam's there, won't, because Sam won't let him burn up the meat, the supply of meat that we have.
After the second burnt batch, you don't think he's going to let him get to the grill a 3rd time?
Someone says, "Why don't you see if someone can bring you some?" Because we don't want to be jerks. Hey, can you go down there and just bring us up our food? You're right. That would be easy, but that's a bit tough.
Please, Ridgely, my burger.
Yeah, let's go ahead and DoorDash that back up here from across the office. You're right. That would be ideal, but I think we're going to have to, as soon as we go to break, sprint down and outside and see if we can make it back in 5.5 or 6 minutes.
I think we can get it done.
We're
both in good enough shape. I think we can make it happen.
Don't fall down the stairs, though. That would be good content, but terrible for the show.
Yeah, that wouldn't. Yeah,
at the same time,
me ending up in the emergency room for the last 2 hours of the show would not be ideal.
Someone says, "What's the over/under of people from the station calling in sick because Carrington's on the grill?" He would have. If anything, it's more the overcooking than undercooking, right? I don't think anybody's worried about him undercooking the hamburgers. It's more the opposite.
I would prefer that.
Yeah, it's more is it going to taste just like char? That's going to be the question, I think, when it comes to these hamburgers. Is there anything else? Is it just hamburgers, or is he grilling anything else? Do you know?
I don't know. As far as I know, it's burger. That's what I got via the email, but I don't know. I'm more looking forward to this ice cream truck that's going to be here in about
light
an
or
hour.
dark. I only care about meat in my mouth.
All right.
We know about that. Oh, there's an ice cream truck. I didn't know. That's news to me. There's an ice cream truck already down there?
It's at 1 o'clock is what it said. Is when the ice cream truck will be here. So we're gonna have to wait about an hour on that. I know Dusty brought some.
I'm back in
Dusty brought some cookies though. So I know, dude.
Homemade cookies or store-bought?
He said store-bought. I'm pretty
That's
sure
fine.
they were
Honestly,
Hy-Vee or something.
I told you, unpopular take. When it comes to work potlucks, I'd rather just have the store-bought cookies, please. I don't want anybody. This is what Cody had, the green onion in the dish he brought that one time. I'm good. You don't know if someone's cat is walking over the cookie dough.
Valid.
You don't know any of that. Just for the potluck stuff, the homemade thing is fine with me. Otherwise, of course, the homemade cookies are better. All right, up next, guys, let's get to what's trending. Maybe a review on the hamburgers Carrington is grilling. Plus, Jack Caglione has been white hot in the month of June. He hit 2 more home runs yesterday. We'll talk more about his home run derby path. And no longer is there a certain player available for the Chiefs.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Vinny Pasquantino, and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
At Liberty Mutual, we love helping people with things like customizing car insurance, just like how we customize a song for you. Catered country tune. Liberty Mutual, saving you bucks by protecting your truck. 'Cause Birdie told me to only pay for what I need. Thank you, Limu. Always trust in Limu with Liberty, 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 Liberty.
Yo, it's Jay Uso from WWE, and I'm Jimmy Uso. Chumba Casino and WWE are hyped for the biggest event of the summer, SummerSlam. I know, I can't wait. There's nothing better to do while we're waiting than playing Chumba Casino. Sign up today and you could win a VIP experience with Chumba Casino and WWE for SummerSlam. So what are you waiting for? Play Chumba Casino and enter for your chance to win. Let's Chumba. Yeah.
Sponsored by VGW Group. No purchase necessary. See terms at ChumbaCasino.com. Must be over 21 and present in a state where it's legal to play.
Wendy's new Biggie Deals lets you choose whatever you're in the mood for. It's like a music mixing board of deals, and you're the producer. Go with some chill folk music with a JBC in the $4 Biggie Bite snack. Try the drum and bass of deals with a double stack in the $6 Biggie Bag. Or go full-on sandwich symphony with an $8 Biggie Bundle, the grand finale of snacking. And the best part? They all come with napkins. 4, 6, and $8 Biggie Deals how you want them at Wendy's.
Price and participation may vary. Single items at regular price. Prices may be higher in Alaska, California, and Hawaii.
Come score the shirt with 96.5 The Fan, as we'll be in the Lightwell office building at 11th and Main in downtown KC Mo every Wednesday between 11 and 1 during the World Soccer Championship, giving away shirts, gift cards, and more. Lightwell, managed by Area, owned by Samara Road.
It is out of here. Man, if your stream isn't as strong as it used to be, or you're taking more breaks to the bathroom than the 7th inning stretch of a televised baseball game,
we'll be back after this.
It's time to get checked. An enlarged prostate, or BPH, could be the cause, and Kansas City Urology Care is here to help. Fast answers, trusted care. Don't wait. Come see Kansas City's largest, most experienced, and most advanced urology team. Visit kcuc.com today. At KCUC, you see the best in KC.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Our American dream is ice cream. Red, White, and Bluebell is our strawberry ice cream loaded with strawberries, alongside creamy vanilla and blueberry ice cream with real blueberries. A full half-gallon of red, white, and blue ice cream. Feel free to celebrate.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at select Walmart supercenters and select neighborhood markets.
You should never cross train tracks when the gates are down, even if you think that everything looks clear, because another train on another track could be approaching. And not all trains stop at all stations. See tracks? Think train.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WEB-NOW1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
As World Soccer hits the big stage, Fanatics Sportsbook is making every game day worth more. Earn up to 10% fan cash on your soccer bets, win or lose. That's real extra value you can unlock every match, all tournament long. And fan cash isn't just for betting. You can use it anywhere in the world of Fanatics. On game tickets, merchandise, collectibles, profit boosts, and more. One ecosystem, endless ways to spend. Plus, new customers get up to $1,000 in fan cash. That's $100 bet match every day for your first 10 days. The world is ready. Are you? Fanatics Sportsbook. Winning hits different here. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-MY-RESET. CT, call 888-789-7777. MA, call 800-327-5050. NY, call 877-8-HOPE-NY. MD, visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Not available in all states. Terms apply. See Fanatics Sportsbook app.
You can listen to Burns on Deck Show starting 1 hour before first pitch for all 162 games this season on 96.5 The Fan and the Odyssey app. Get ready for the game with Touch 'Em All and listen for your chance to win Royals tickets during the pitch clock. We are in your car, we are on your phone, and we are free for every Royals game this season. Tune in to Burns on Deck Show 1 hour before first pitch, right here on your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
Hey guys, it's Dusty Likens, and I have a new social media series called Range Bait that is up on all of 96.5 The Fan's social channels. I love golf. I talk about it. You know it. I watch it. I play it. So every week I'm headed out to the range to hit a bucket of balls and talk to you. It could be Royals conversation. It could be about how the chicken crossed the road. Who gives a rip? New videos will be released every Thursday on The Fan's YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter pages. Range Bait with me, Dusty Likens, on your home for Kansas City Sports 96.5 The Fan.
Hey, it's Rob Brenton, and now that the tournament has started here in Kansas City, we're keeping you up to date on Beyond the Pitch KC. So subscribe and download today. The podcast is presented by Commerce Bank. Visit commercebank.com/soccer26. Available on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, it's Carter Jensen, and this is your home for Royals baseball, 96.5 The Fan.
KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. What's trending?
Cheddar, mozzarella, Havarti. All right, we all made it back in time. We'll talk about our trip down to the company picnic and report in a second. But we all did make it back. Logan, get some more water as well. You know, drink a little more water. We're gonna have to make it through this segment so we don't sound like we have food stuffed in our mouth real quick. Number one on what's trending, the Royals are trying to win the series today, actually, against the Rays. They could get it done in the first three, trying to maybe put themselves in position to get a sweep if they win today. They handled their business yesterday. Today, Noah Cameron on the bump against Griffin Jacks, which is just a hell of a name, by the way, Griffin Jacks. But that's who they're going up against. 5:40 first pitch. Vern's on Deck Show at 4:30 this afternoon.
And who knows, right? I mean, the thing with the Rays that's so impressive is that they just continue to churn out excellent starting pitching. But this Royals team, I mean, you already took care of business against the two best arms that Tampa Bay has got in front of you. Noah Cameron on the bump for Kansas City. He's been much better over his last 3 or 4 starts than he was to begin the season. And with the way the Royals bats are firing on all cylinders right now, hard to bet against them going into tonight. Number 2 I've got on what's trending, sticking with the Kansas City Royals. Chris Bubich is expected to begin a rehab assignment tonight with AAA Omaha. The Royals need him to get back. Reagan's done for the year. Estevez likely in the same situation. This Royals team, if you have any possibility, if there's any inkling that you might still have an outside chance to make a postseason run, which seems absolutely out of the ordinary right now, you need to have starting pitching healthy. And they feel like they've got something found a little bit with Kolek, although that game on Sunday against St. Louis didn't necessarily give you that level of confidence. you got to have a guy like Chris Bubich back who, when healthy and at his best, is an all-star caliber kind of a pitcher. With the loss of Reagans, you need that ace-like player on your staff.
Elsewhere, what's true in the NBA draft last night, at least night number one. We got the rest of the draft tonight, but night number one of the draft last night, A.J. DeBonso went number one overall to the Washington Wizards. Here, as far as local ties, we know Darren Peterson, number 2 overall to the Utah Jazz. Cam Boozer went number 3 to Memphis. Keaton Wagler went to the Clippers, and then your guy Bennett Sturts went to Oklahoma City.
I think it's a good fit for Sturts, and really excited for Wagler, guy from Shawnee that nobody really, K-State, nobody looked at him, lands at Illinois and just wows people into being a top 5 pick. He'll pair next to Kawhi Leonard, I think, pretty nicely there with the Clippers. Lastly, we got here on What's Trending, we've got World Cup action. 6 matches today, so it's a full slate of games. Bosnia, Qatar at 2 o'clock. Switzerland, Canada, also a 2 p.m. start. 5 o'clock, we got Morocco, Haiti, Scotland, and Brazil. And then at 8 p.m. tonight, we've got Czechia versus Mexico, South Africa versus South Korea. All those games on either Fox or FS1.
That's what's trending here on Cody and Gold. As you can hear, Logan Weber's filling in for Cody today. Drew Nixon producing the show. Coming up in 25 minutes, we'll talk some Royals baseball with Josh Vernier. We're going to talk some baseball here in a second as well. But we'll have our guy Josh Vernier here in a little bit. His On Deck show coming up at 4:30. All right, we mentioned it before the break. Somebody texted in and said they are invested now. They need an answer. We told you we went down to the company picnic. It's out in the parking lot. We had to rush out there. We all kind of jogged down the stairs, if you will, to get ourselves back here just in time for the segment. Did you have a couple bites of the burger? Number one, we went down there. We were very disappointed. Carrington was nowhere to be found.
No.
Nowhere to be found, not just near the grill. He wasn't even at the picnic. Rob was down there. I saw Dusty down there. Saw a bunch of other people down there. Carrington was on the grill. Sam Stevie from our sister station, KMBZ, was on the grill. So Carrington still has never grilled because he's not grilling actively. I will say, to Sam's credit, the burger's pretty good.
Yeah,
when you're trying to grill for the masses, it's tough you got to store some away. It's not like it's coming right off the grill immediately as you went down there. I thought the burger's pretty good. I'm looking forward to eating the rest of it during the break.
I completely agree.
But CDOT wasn't there, if you're wondering.
That's
we don't know where he's at.
It's extremely disappointing. I don't think any of us had a real confidence in our bones that CDOT was going to grill. But to not only not be on the grill, to not be to not even be at the picnic.
He could have been learning. He said he's never grilled before. He could have been learning from Sam.
You could have been there picking up some tips and tricks. He said he was going to bring a strong moral fiber to the grilling
and a
today,
warm spirit.
And a warm spirit. And he's not there.
No,
where's the moral fiber? Where's the spirit for the picnic? It's missing it down there. You can feel it in the parking lot.
That's it. That's exactly right. Now, did you just go, Drew, did you go burger as well? We all go burger? There were some dogs down. I think we all, Drew's nodding.
Yeah, I went burger too. There were dogs down there, though.
Everyone went burger. I think burger was the move today. Hot dogs, it's at the ballpark. I love a hot dog. At the ballpark, it just tastes a million times better. I don't know what, it's the whole atmosphere. In general, if I'm at a normal picnic or barbecue or whatever, if there's a hot dog or a hamburger, I'm choosing the hamburger every single time. At a ball game, though, I don't want a hamburger at a ball game. I want the hot dog then.
I will not eat.
People want a photo of it's half eaten. People on the video stream, you don't want to see my plate. It's just like it's a half eaten burger. It's not gonna look good, The
exact text reads, "Show us your meat, bro." Okay. So I don't know if he's talking about the hamburger or not.
I'm pretty sure he is. I'm pretty sure he is. Yeah,
But I won't touch it. I won't eat a hot dog.
Wait.
Oh, they're disgusting.
You've had one though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I shouldn't say I won't eat a hot dog. If you
what kind though?
Smother it in chili and cheese.
Have you tried different brands?
I just don't.
Have you had a Nathan's?
Man.
Have you had a Hebrew National?
Nathan's Ballpark. I just do not. Yeah, brats are a different subject.
Brats are great.
So you like brats?
Yes, I just do not like hot dogs.
Not even at the ballpark. Because I'm with you. Like, in general, a hot dog's not all that appetizing to me unless I'm at a ballpark.
I just can't do it, man. Like, you're going to have to put so many condiments on it that I cannot taste or recognize that I'm eating a hot dog. You smother it in chili and cheese. You put relish and onions and ketchup and mustard all over it. I can try to get it down. But I just something has been that way since I was little. I just cannot.
Like, I get some people don't like the hot dogs that, because sometimes at the ballpark, there's a difference between steamed and having like a true grilled hot dog, right, with some char on it. That's usually way better. But you don't like any hot dog, period.
No, and like I used to work like concessions when I was little, like at my little hometown's local baseball park.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe it was just the
Is
smell
that what did
of
it
like
for you,
the
maybe?
smell of the hot dog water that did me in, but I just cannot consume a hot dog. Can't do it.
Wow, I didn't know this. Now I get criticized on the hot dog because I only go ketchup.
Okay.
In Chicago, that's a no-go. So my co-host on Saturdays is from Chicago or lives in Chicago, and they give me a hard time all the time for that take. Because and the producer is also from Chicago.
I'll eat a Chicago style or chili cheese hot dog, but that's about it.
Huh. Someone says, Logan, have you never had a Costco hot dog?
No, I've had a Costco hot dog.
Okay. And you didn't like that either?
No, I didn't. Not even slightly.
Wow.
My
wife
wife
crushed on the text.
I know. My wife really is.
4th of July weekend, you won't have a dog.
God, no.
Wow.
No, I'll eat a brat or a hamburger.
Okay.
That is what I'll eat.
I learned something new today.
Brats are great. They're better than hot dogs.
See, I'll eat so that's what's fun. I'll eat a brat, but I would prefer the hot dog over the brat. Like if someone says dog, brat, burger on the grill, I'm going to choose burger probably 90% of the time, and then just hot dog after that, and then ignore the brat.
Show us your meat, bro.
You did. Yeah, you're not helping yourself. Thank you, Drew, for that one.
What are you doing to me?
Yeah. See, you're not gonna. That stuff doesn't slip by. That stuff's getting saved anytime in the system.
That was a quote. Okay, that was not directly from me.
You said it though.
That's where you get to back yourself up today.
Light or dark, I only care about meat in my mouth. Okay, now that wasn't a quote.
That was you just saying that. But yes, that was the most recent one was tweaked a little bit. Yeah.
Disingenuous from you there, Drew.
Correct. Yes, the paraphrasing.
Taking my quotes out of context.
That's what happens. That's what we do, though.
I know.
That's what we do on the show.
I know.
That's the whole point. All right, let's talk some Royals baseball though, and again, Vern will join us in 20 minutes. But on Monday we led the show with Cags and what he was doing over the weekend against the Cardinals and the path forward for him maybe to get the home run derby. It's only gotten more likely based on what he just did yesterday. 2 home runs, 6 in 5 games. And I think what is impressive now is for him to have 3 multi-home run games since June 9th. That in its own right, just saying that is crazy. Then you add in the fact that he's doing, and that's a specific stat, I'll admit, like baseball has always the stats that, you're like, okay, there's so many qualifiers. But Opta Stats put this out. So Cags is 23 years old. I think we know that. Over his last 14 games, 3 multi-home run games, 3 games where he reached base 4 or more times. The only player since 1920 that did that at a younger age was Reggie Jackson back in 1969. He is on an unreal run right now. Although I say run, now maybe he's not going to keep having the multi-home run games, but what he's doing, this is what a year and a half ago, I guess, or a little over a year ago now, we were all talking about because he was doing it in the minors. And we're like, okay, and we expected it instantly, in fairness. And now we're seeing the entire reason for all the excitement, the reason why Drew and I and Cody and Dusty, we all went down to Springfield with listeners, right? We went to watch him play in the minors. That excitement, that's what we're now seeing play out. Now, is it unfortunate? Yes, that it's happening for a team that, in general, as a unit, has not been good at all, and it's a disappointing season in 2026. Yes, but it's about individual stuff for, I think, us as fans and media now. Cags, Carter Jensen's got a 14-game hitting streak, too.
Not being talked about enough.
Gets lost in the shuffle. But Jack Caglianone's chances of getting to the home run derby get greater and greater every single day as there's now more national attention on this. I've told you, I think you agree, fan vote-wise for the All-Star game, it's not happening. They put out the top 20 votes earlier this week, and he's not even in the top 20. So the fan vote part, he's not getting in the All-Star game for that. There's a chance that via manager and peer voting that he gets in as an alternate or a reserve or whatever. That's a possibility. The realistic thing, though, I think, is the home run derby for him.
I agree. I think that it would be foolish of the peer manager to not have Jack Caglianone included in the All-Star game. I mean, he's top 5 among outfielders in the American League in a huge swath of these categories. But the home run derby feels more likely considering the fact that you're only going to have X number of participants from each league to begin with. So you look at some of the big home run hitting names in Major League Baseball. Well, a lot of those guys are in the National League right now, so they're not taking away any opportunities for Cags to be competing on the American League side. And then you look at the American League side, right? Munetaka Murakami's hurt right now, probably not going to participate in the Derby. Aaron Judge is hurt, not going to participate in the Home Run Derby.
Mike Trout is on that too.
Mike Trout is in that same situation. Yordan Alvarez says he's not competing because of the injury. So, I mean, Ben Rice, Shea Langoliers, Nick Kurtz, Christian Walker, maybe Pete Alonso, because that seems to be Pete Alonso's calling card.
But he's still on the NL, right?
Pete Alonso's with Baltimore now.
He's AL now. Okay,
Yeah.
he can't get enough the home run derby. That's true. He's in the American League. I was just you mentioned Nick Kurtz. Could you imagine for baseball though? Kurtz and Cags, two of the young power hitters in baseball right now.
Yeah, throw in a Jordan Walker from St. Louis, and all of a sudden you get a unique opportunity if you're Major League Baseball to showcase the next generation, that next crop of baseball players that's already excelling at the big league level. And don't forget, these guys are only 23, 22 years old. But when you look at Walker and Kurtz and Jack Caglione, I said earlier this week on the morning show that I think that the 2024 draft class in Major League Baseball the early returns already showcase that it could be one of the best draft classes of all time. And what better way to showcase that than with two of the premier guys from that class in Cags and Nick Kurtz, both going in the Home Run Derby after they both put together incredible months here in the month of June.
Yeah, I think now the noise is getting so loud. I think it was MLB Network did a whole segment on him talking about his month of June, because he has been in the American League maybe the best player. He's probably going to win AL Player of the Month.
He should. He's got the highest OPS
numbers
in the league.
The numbers are incredible here in the month of June, and so I think the more national noise, and then you get the peers that start talking about you, and if baseball's smart, I think there's a real chance he gets in the Derby. As I said, the All-Star game is tricky. You gotta have some alternates. Or you gotta have some guys drop out. And you're talking about a bench spot, not the fan votes for starters, reminder. And I know right now the fan vote has Aaron Judge leading. As you said, he's out, so he's not. So that's one guy that won't be starting, so it's one extra spot. He won't get in replace of Aaron Judge. It would be replace of the fourth or fifth guy down the list eventually if they got there. But I think fans should be pushing for him to get in the Derby more than anything else, because there's no fan vote that's going to get him in the All-Star game, in my opinion. And that's someone disagreed with me earlier and said I was a hater. I think he should be in the Derby, and yeah, as an alternate, fine. But we all have the same document that was sent out on Twitter this week, which shows you where the votes are at for outfielders. And there's 20 in the American League listed, and he's not in the top 20 votes. And to get 20th is 170,000 votes, I think. So he's not even that. There's not enough time for that kind of push. And you need more than just Kansas City voting. I know we have the history in this town of getting behind players and voting. We all know the Vote Omar thing. The format is also different than what it was back in 2015. Right. And if Cags was like 8th in voting right now, then I'd say, okay, we could push him to 4th or 3rd. He's not going from 25th, if he's even 25th, to 4th. Or 7th. It's not happening.
Yeah, I mean, you think about the fact that he's probably, at least at the time that came out, had less than 150,000 All-Star votes. I mean, right now with Judge not participating because of the injury, you're looking at Mike Trout, Byron Buxton, and Cody Bellinger being your 3 starters from the American League in the outfield. Bellinger being the 3rd of those 3 at 1,067,000 votes. You're expecting Jack Caglione to somehow amass 1 million votes before we hit the All-Star break, and Cody Bellinger is just not going to register another one?
Yeah, that's not going to. His path is clear. It's going to have to be via manager of the All-American League team, and then his peers said, hey, this guy's playing better baseball than anybody right now. Hopefully he can keep it up heading into the All-Star game, and that's how he would get into that. But for the Derby, the Derby, way easier entry. Way easier entry point. We'll talk to Vern about this, guys, in 10 minutes or so. All right, I mentioned this a bit earlier in the show, but Kyle Pitts signed that 3-year extension with the Atlanta Falcons yesterday. 3 years, $54 million, including $36 million fully guaranteed. According to Adam Schefter, it's the largest 3-year contract for a tight end in NFL history. He was a name that I think has been polarizing for Chiefs fans for multiple years, not just eventually to replace Travis Kelce, but there were a lot of people. I know Cody wanted Kyle Pitts here 2 years ago to pair up with Travis Kelce. It doesn't mean for his entire career it's impossible, but we can close this book on Kyle Pitts coming to Kansas City anytime soon now with this contract extension. And he's somebody, to his credit, in a contract year, he went out and had his second best year of his NFL career, and look what it did. It resulted in a massive payday. So what I'm interested in is, what does this mean for the long-term future at tight end for Kansas City? Because we all think this is probably it for Travis Kelce. I know we kind of said that last year, but so don't say 0%, but it's very unlikely that he's back next year. And so when you have a wide receiver room, what looks like it's going to be very weak heading into next offseason, because Rice won't even be under contract. Maybe they decide to keep him, but he won't be under contract. Then you're looking at Worthy, Jalen Royals, Tyquan Thornton, and Cyrus Allen, we just don't have the answer on either of those guys at the back end yet. Maybe Jalen Royals or Allen burst onto the scene this year. Who knows? I don't think you can count on that. So you're going to already have to put a lot of resources next offseason in wide receiver. How do you handle tight end? You can't be weak at both. It's one thing to be average at wide receiver, but you have a Hall of Fame tight end. If you're not going to have a Hall of Fame tight end, how do you move forward with that? Is it going to be like a multi-tight end approach? Noah Gray would have to show me a hell of a lot more this year to feel confident about him being the guy at tight end in 2027.
This is a situation where in 2027, the Chiefs are going to have to spend their draft resources on the offensive side of the football. Right? The last couple of years, it's felt like they've done more to attack the defense, and great. And next year, there's less of a reason to do that. Nick Bolton's under a long-term extension. You picked up Alohi Gilman. Maybe you go after a strong safety. If Jaden Hicks doesn't figure it out and you don't want to run yet another season of Shamari Connor at the strong safety spot. But offense is where you need to go. And really, it comes down to wide receiver and tight end. You don't need to go get a running back in the draft. You're solidified, I believe, in 4 of your 5 spots along your offensive line. If there's a right tackle you love, then maybe, but...
Yeah, depends on what Jalen Moore looks like.
Right,
yeah.
Or this guy from this undrafted kid from Indiana that the staff seems to be talking a lot about right now. Mm-hmm. Nate Taylor mentioned him. They were talking about, Nate Taylor of ESPN had an article talking about extensions for each NFL team, and he mentioned Jalen Moore as a possible extension, said it's very unlikely, but said he's in a position battle with this kid from Indiana. He was the only name mentioned alongside Jalen Moore. That's the kind of upheaval that he's got going on right now. But I think that you can't just go sign a middling free agent and say, hey, we've got Noah Gray and we've got this guy. The example I used earlier was Drew Sample from Cincinnati, and say, we're going to try to moneyball this. We're going to try to create Travis Kelce in the aggregate. You can't create Travis Kelce in the aggregate. You can't create a safety valve like that for Patrick Mahomes via a couple of different guys that are just sort of middling. And I'm sorry, I have no confidence in Noah Gray right now coming into this season.
He needs to prove to people this year.
So how can I have confidence in him going into next year? A young tight end, or even a free agent tight end, like a TJ Hawkinson's going to be a free agent next year, but he's going to be 30 plus, and what's to think there? I think there are some viable tight end options that you could get, not just in round 1, but rounds 2 and 3 going into next year's draft, of which the Chiefs already have 2 third-round picks. You can address tight end and wide receiver simultaneously in next year's draft. They don't have to be mutually exclusive.
Yeah, I think the challenge is, and you guys follow the college path more than I do, but is next year the draft you want to spend a top pick? I mean, they're not trading. Let's say they're a playoff team, so hopefully they're picking 20 in the 20s. Okay, maybe the 30s if everything went really well. Are you getting the best tight end available? Then probably not. Like I don't know if this is the year where you're going and getting the stud tight end. Wasn't that this past year or the year before? That's the tricky thing. I think they're going to have to draft a tight end and then also sign another vet or pair him up with Noah Gray moving forward in 2027. That's a next year problem, but the Kyle Pitts part is interesting because that was a name that would have been mentioned for a lot of Chiefs fans. If he never signed the extension, Chiefs fans would have said, oh, next offseason, just sign Kyle Pitts, because that's been a name that has been, I think, attractive to fans in Kansas City for a little while.
There's a set of 3 tight ends. Trey'Dez Green at LSU, Terrence Carter at Texas Tech, and then Jamari Johnson at Oregon. Those are the 3, at least right now.
True, somebody can emerge.
That we think are going to be really good. Trey'Dez Green probably the best of that group. So.
It's too early to know if he's a top 15 pick or.
Terrence Carter's story is interesting. It'll be interesting to see what he does this year with.
What's his story?
Well, he was at Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns, was really good there. Went to Texas Tech, was okay last year. He was fine. If he has a good year on top of what he's done so far, then I think he might be able to be the best tight end. But
Jamari Johnson fascinates me out of Oregon. I mean, a guy who he's playing behind Kenyon Sadiq.
Tight ends.
Yeah, he's playing behind Kenyon Sadiq, the guy who was the top tight end off the board last year, and he still managed 500 yards and three touchdown catches last year. I mean, and he's crazy good size, 6'5", 260 pounds, moves really well. But again, the best tight end, the top tight end draft pick every year, like any other position, is not always the best player in a class. I mean, you look at the top tight ends in the league today, George Kittle and Mark Andrews and guys like Sam Laporta. These guys are third, fourth, fifth round picks.
I'd rather spend my first round pick on a wide receiver.
I agree with
like
you.
next year, like maybe even my first couple picks, but we'll see. It's something that I know will end up being an off-season conversation, but Kyle Pitts getting paid by the Atlanta Falcons. All right, up next, back to the Royals. Josh Vernier, our Royals insider, going to join us. We'll talk to him about Jack Caglione, of course, plus the latest with Bobby Wood Jr., Michael Garcia on the IL, and how important Chris Bubich's rehab assignment is tonight, not just for this team this year, but could you set up a situation where he shows enough for the trade deadline as well next month? That's coming up right here on Cody and Gold.
You're listening to Cody and Gold.
We're going to try to tickle your tonsils.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Liberty Mutual customize this song for you. Like your car insurance, it's custom too, yeah. Liberty Mutual's got the coverage that could save you money. Thanks to Doug and Limu, well now you can go and take that cruise. Liberty, 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 yeah.
Hi, this is Kevin Harlan, and I'm here with Rob Seid at Rob Seid Ford. Rob, I smell a grill. What's cooking?
Kevin, the grills are fired up, and so are the deals. Right now at Rob Seid Ford, it's the Ford Employee Pricing Sales Event with the best deals we've had in the past 12 months.
Now that's saying something. What are we talking?
Employee pricing on virtually every new Ford on our lot, plus even more dealer discounts on top.
So how hot do these deals get?
Up to $17,500 off brand new F-150s at Rob Seid Ford, plus huge savings on Expedition, Explorer, Bronco Sport, Bronco, and more.
Wow, that's 5 alarm hot.
Exactly, and unlike Kevin's Burgers, these deals are coming out juicy.
All right, I walked into that one.
Shop Rob Seid Ford, Kansas City's top-rated Ford store on Google. 4.8 stars and nearly 3,500 reviews.
Rob Seid Ford, 135th and State Line, or robseid.com.
Buy right, Rob Seid.
I can't raise my arms, I can't climb stairs, and I can't kneel down, which means I can't play with the kids, golf with the guys, or get through a workday without exhausting pain. Hey, it's Bob Fesco, and I'm here to celebrate what you can do. That's exactly what QC Kinetics patients are doing. Not bracing for that next jolt of pain. It's gone. They've moved on, back to living their lives. You've heard me talk about the team at QC Kinetics, and so many of you have already been through their game-changing regenerative treatments, and it's all done right in the office. No missing work, no surgery, no long recovery. The inflammation calms down and the pain backs off. So go find out what you can do. It's a good life out there, folks. Go live it to the fullest. Let's get rid of that pain starting right now. The consultation is totally free. 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone. 816-412-6299.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more. USPS, official shipping sponsor of the NHL.
T-Mobile has an exclusive bundle for customers 55 and up.
I'm Sarah Bowl.
Yeah, I'm Frank Bowl.
A reliable network is key for us. And with T-Mobile, it's been wonderful. And going to the 55 plus plan saved us so much money.
A lot.
And that's important. Trying to keep costs down. The home internet's been perfect. It's fast, it's quick. The setup was so easy, it took less than 15 minutes.
It was like, if you want simplicity, coverage, reliability, you want the whole package, T-Mobile has it. Right now, T-Mobile customers 55 and up can get 2 phone lines on America's best network, plus America's fastest 5G home internet for just $30 each.
$30 per month each line with autopay plus taxes and fees. Minimum age 55. Pricing for home internet rely on 2 lines of Essentials Choice 55. $35 connection charge per line required. Best mobile network and fastest 5G home internet based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 2H 2025. All rights reserved.
Another app for inventory, one for CRM. Oh, don't forget accounting. Wait, which login was that?
Or you could use Odoo, one fully integrated system that does it all without the hassle. Ditch the app overload. Get everything your business needs on one platform. Try Odoo free today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Jake from State Farm. I just beat my running PR, so I'm celebrating with the Banana Bonanza smoothie.
Hey, and you can keep celebrating when you create an affordable price just for you by bundling your home and auto with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. Go bananas.
I will. Hey, make it a large.
Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Come score the shirt with 96.5 The Fan as we'll be in the Lightwell office building at 11th and Main in downtown KC Mo every Wednesday between 11 and 1 during the World Soccer Championship, giving away shirts, gift cards, and more. Lightwell, managed by Area, owned by Samara Road.
Alex Gold, Logan Weber with you on Cody and Gold. Drew Nixon producing the show. We'll get to the random question of the day here in about 15 minutes or so. Let's talk some more Royals baseball with our Royals insider, Josh Vernier, his On Deck show, 4:30 this afternoon as the Royals continue their series that is going pretty well so far against the Tampa Bay Rays. And Vern, of course, all that anybody wants to talk about, understandably so right now, is Jack Caglione, who is maybe the best player in the AL here in the month of June, and we all know it's been headlined by the power numbers, but he also has been much better just in terms of seeing the ball at the plate and being patient. What does this, I guess, mean for the Royals moving forward this year and beyond? Because we all know the hype last year before he got called up, and he was doing what he's doing now in the minors, but this is the first glimpse of it really in the majors, and now we're seeing why he was the top pick, why everybody was talking about him being a superstar or a star.
Yeah, to me, there's really 2 avenues to go down. One is, like you mentioned, he's been the best player in the American League here in the month of June. He's having one of the 3-4 greatest months of June in Royals franchise history. You gave that statistic earlier about the fact that he's doing something we haven't seen at this age since Reggie Jackson. Jackson that year went to his first of 14 All-Star games. Jack Caglione hopefully about to go to his first All-Star game. Yeah, he's had a great month, 2 weeks, 7 days. I can't wait until July and August and September to see if he can indeed put together this 30, 35 home run season and become one of those players that only comes to Kansas City if you draft him, right? A player like Bobby Witt Jr., like Jack Caglione, well, a player like Bobby Witt Jr. and what this Jack Caglione has been here in the month of June, those guys don't often hit free agency, but when they do, they don't think about Kansas City because Kansas City's out of the ballpark when it comes to the finances. The only way you get a Bobby Witt Jr. and what this looks like from Jack Caglione is by drafting them, developing them, paying them, and keeping them, convincing them, tricking them to stay in Kansas City wearing that Royals uniform. So I understand that, the team's still 12 games below 500, and it's going to be, darn near impossible to make anyone remember 2026 fondly. But as you look towards 2027, if this is Jack Caglione, if he is one of those players that for the season, man, I can give you numbers that say Jack Caglione's one of the 15 best hitters in the sport this season. Not just June, but for the season. He's been at times unlucky, but he's statistically one of the 15 best hitters in the sport. Bob, we know, is one of the 3 best players on the planet. If you have those 2 guys under contract for at least the next 4 years, I don't want to hear anything about a reset, a restart, Go win in 2027 by hook or by crook. Get these 2 to the postseason. They might be the 2 most talented players you've had together since. At this age, man, you have to think Beltran and Dye. You might go back even further than that.
And you mentioned, talking about Cags and Bobby Witt, and rightfully so, but quietly, Carter Jensen has put together an exceptional month of June. He just hit 14-game hitting streak. Now it's the longest streak in Major League Baseball. With the tear that Cags is on, it's sort of been swept under the rug, but does it feel to you like Carter Jensen is becoming a factor in that conversation of this big 3 core of young guys that the Royals are building?
Yeah, the youngest of the bunch. And again, a catcher at that age, with that type of hit tool, even if he doesn't stay at catcher, right? Even if Blake Mitchell knocks him to a corner outfield spot in a few seasons, that bat in free agency, if he continues, again, it's a small sample size, but boy, Carter Jensen's sample size from the end of last year to the course of the first half of this season, puts him with with Cags and Bobby as a trio of players that, again, Kansas City can only have if you draft and develop them. A trio that we haven't seen since Gordo, Hosmer, and Moustakas, where you guys remember dreaming on that 3. What are they going to become? How many can you get to the postseason on the backs of these 3? Can they win a world title on the backs of these 3? And they ultimately did, and yet, if I was to ask most Royals fans that remember that 2012, 2013, the build-up to the championship, if I give you these 6 players, Gordo, Hosmer, Moose, Bobby, Carter, and Cags in a draft, we know Bobby's going 1-1, but after that, is it Carter 2? Is it Cags 2? My point being that championship core, those guys that were all top 3 picks in the draft, that ended up winning championships, I think talent-wise, they all take a back seat to this trio. So again, I just refuse to hang my head about the future of this franchise, because to me that's letting ownership in the front office off the hook. Go win with these guys.
We're talking to Josh Fernier, our Royals insider here on 96.5 The Fan. We know Chris Bubich is going to have another rehab assignment tonight in Omaha. How important is tonight for him? When you look at the options it gives the Royals? I understand for this year's team and all that, but I'm talking about me in particular, the deadline in the end of July and early August. Right. And don't they need him to put together like 4 or 5 good outings here?
Yeah, and it might start with 2 or 3 of them down in the minor leagues. I think he's only expected to go an inning, maybe 2 tonight with Omaha. So it's going to be obviously an extended rehab assignment for Chris Bubich. And, you just want him to show that he can help somebody. Because if he doesn't, I guess for big Chris Bubich fans out there, you might look at it as a way to get him to come back in 2027. You might get a prove-it type of, hey, our training staff, how about you come back and we'll retest free agency at the end of next season. I don't necessarily hope that happens. I'm hoping, like you're talking about, Gold, you get a nice couple of innings tonight. A week, 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks from now, at the end of the rehab assignment, he comes up. make a appearance or two, whether that's out of the bullpen or as a 2, 3, 4 inning starts, and try to get something for him because, banking that he's going to re-sign and be a part of your team in 2027 on a show-me deal, that's pretty optimistic. That's pretty pie in the sky. The best way for Kris Bubic to help this organization is to perform well, stay healthy over the next few weeks, and after the All-Star break, look as good as you have in more than a year and try to get this organization something, because that type of arm, we've seen him in the postseason out of the bullpen. We've seen him as an all-star, as a starting pitcher, and a lefty that can run it up into the mid-90s. Someone will find a spot. He'll fit every single contender in Major League Baseball. Maybe the bidding war won't be as high as we had hoped to open up the season if we found ourselves in a spot like this, but a lefty with that track record that's already done it in October, people will certainly be blowing up JJ's phone for Kris Bubic.
And as we're talking about the trade deadline, there was an article last week. Jeff Passan of ESPN did like a top 100 trade deadline targets across the league, and there were 9 Royals mentioned in that article. If you were to have to give an over-under on the number of guys that we see Kansas City deal away before that August 3rd deadline, what would that number be, and what names immediately come to your mind as guys that will likely be wearing another jersey this season?
Yeah, hopefully you can put Bubic on that list. John Schreiber, to me, is an automatic. Lane Thomas is a no-brainer. I'd like to say that Starling Marte is a no-brainer. How much are you really going to get for 2 months of Starling Marte? So, I can put him on the list. So I'll put it at 3.5. Daniel Lynch, I think, should be traded. If someone calls for Nick Lofton, I'm certainly going to listen for an extended period of time. Man, look at the numbers that Lofton somehow this season, by the way, has an OPS in the 800s. Nick Lofton. So if someone calls for Lofton, if someone calls about Michael Massey, I'm listening. Massey, Lofton, and Daniel Lynch, to me, are the guys that you have under contract for multiple years that I'd be willing to part with. Of course, you listen on Michael Wacha, but, man, that price would really have to be right for me to part with Wacha, especially as we talk about Bubic, as we know you're going to lose Cole Reagans for next season. I want to win next season, and you can't win without pitching. And if you trade away Michael Wacha, I don't know who the hell's pitching for this team next year.
And along those same lines, you mentioned Wacha. What's the thought process behind trading away a guy like Seth Lugo, who will be a free agent after the 2027 season?
But Lugo does have that vesting option for 2028 if he pitches enough innings this year coupled with next year, which I don't know if the 175 innings he needs to pitch, I don't know if that's likely, but it's certainly possible. And I don't know how attractive I don't know how attractive Seth Lugo is next year at that price tag, let alone 2028 at that price tag. So Wacha is certainly the prize to me of this rotation. But listen, if especially if these teams that have the expiring contracts, right, the Red Sox with Sonny Gray, if they can't convince him to waive the no trade, if Detroit somehow decides to hang on to Tarek Skubal and go for it as they're the hottest team in baseball here in the month of June, if the Marlins hang on to Sandy Alcantara, if these guys Joe Ryan with the Minnesota Twins, if the guys that you thought were goners are no longer goners, well, maybe the price tag and the ask is met for a Lugo, for a Wacha. So you have to listen, but to part, especially with the Michael Wacha, who right now is clearly your number one next season, to part with him leaves such a cavernous hole in that rotation next season. Losing Lugo, okay, you should be able to spend that money that you're going to save by trading away Seth Lugo, spend that very quickly this offseason. But Michael Wacha, to me, that's going to be tough to replace.
Couple injury notes. We know Michael Garcia on the IL the other day. We know Bobby Wood Jr. is still dealing with a knee sprain. I think Garcia's coming back to Kansas City today, I guess, for more testing. Was that wishful thinking on their part, though, where they tried to kind of drag this out long enough? And he played Monday night, and then the next day he was he was on the IL, or should they have just gone ahead and put him on the IL from the very beginning?
Yeah, I think he was grinding through it. I think it was more of a decision of him capitulating to, okay, I can't go anymore. I think that's, and all due respect to Mike Hell, a guy that just got paid that could have easily said, give me that 10 days on the IL. This hurts like a, no, he's out there battling with no Vinny, no Mike, no Bobby, no Izzy, no, you know all the guys that are banged up. So, yeah, all you have to do is really look at the numbers. Go back to that St. Louis series when the injury first popped up. He was, hitting about 275 going into that St. Louis series. He had an OPS around 750. So, he wasn't as good as he was a season ago, but he was still an above-average hitter. But since that St. Louis series, when he I'm talking about the St. Louis series in St. Louis. Since then, his OPS is in the 500s. He's hitting below 240. So he just hasn't been good offensively. Still solid defensively. But this team needs bats. And shockingly, Tyler Tolbert and Nick Lofton have provided those bats.
So as we're talking about the injuries that the Royals have, go through a scenario once these guys return, once Bobby's back from the strain, once Mikel's back, once Vinny's back on the IL. What does this lineup look like day to day? Does Kag stay in the 3-hole where he has absolutely flourished and that forces, say, Vinny or Salvi to move down the order? How do you see Q having to navigate these hot bats that are going here in June with all of these stalwart cornerstone guys that are coming back?
Yeah, I think it's very easy. I mean, shoot, Salvi's already been dropped to the 6th spot prior to Mikel and Bobby both going down. That saw him get back up to the cleanup spot. But Salvi hitting 6th was as low as he hit since 2018, back when Ned was the manager, before the Tommy John surgery, before Salvi really became that power threat he's been for the past half decade. So Salvi's already been dropped. He'll get right back down in the 6th, 7th spot if and when all those guys return healthy and barring any other injuries that pop up. But, Kyle Isbell should be back in a couple of weeks as well. And it's not going to be difficult to say goodbye to Josh Rojas or Cameron Meisner. No, I think you continue to see, Carter and Lane Thomas at the top of Lane's going to be traded. So you continue to see Carter and Mike Hall, I would think, at the top of the lineup. Bobby hitting 2. Jack Caglione has to stay in the 3 spot because what's more intimidating in the world than pitching to Bobby Witt Jr. and Jack Caglione standing on deck? The Shohei Mookie Betts, the Mookie Betts, Freddie Free. There's just not much that really stands toe-to-toe with Bobby's at the dish and that monster standing in the on-deck circle. So, yeah, that 1, 2, 3. This is Cags and Carter's team. Especially lately where there's no Bob, there's no Mikel, Salvi's out there, but it's not, he has the C on his chest, but if you're trying to win a game, you're falling in line behind Jack Caglione and Carter Jensen. No, the organization is now theirs. I don't know if they realize that just yet, but they can really start to mold this clubhouse. They're young, so they probably don't realize it, but they could start molding this clubhouse because Carter's different than a lot of the guys that have come through this clubhouse over the years. Carter's got an edge about him. Cags is an animal. This team hasn't had many animals or fighters since the championship squad left in 2017. So, when those guys come back, shoot, Vinny has eyes. Vinny knows baseball. He knows what Cags is doing. I don't think it'll be difficult to roll out a much different-looking lineup.
Josh Fernier, our Royals insider, is on deck show today, coming up at 4:30 as the Royals look to go ahead and clinch this series against the Tampa Bay Rays. Appreciate it, Vern.
Always appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Josh Fernier with us every Wednesday.
Get off the phone line!
Coming up in about 12 minutes or so, we will get back into the NBA draft. We now know Darren Peterson's a member of the Utah Jazz. Some other local ties we'll talk more about. The fit, what does it mean? Rookie of the Year odds are already out for Darren Peterson. But first, let's get to the random question.
Random question.
913-586-7965. I don't know if you've got a random question, Logan, for us today. Otherwise, I'm gonna have Drew go chat GPT on us and just real quick do a random prompt on Chat GPT.
I cannot say I have one off the top of my head. I was not aware that was part of my homework assignment prior to today's show.
Random question of the day.
I'll know better for Friday.
Yeah, well, Friday. Okay, Friday I'll give you full-blown random question of the day, and then what usually happens? People are critical no matter what the question is. So whether it's from Drew or I, Bink's yesterday was good. Yeah, Bink, that was a strong one from Bink. Let me know when you have a ChatGPT random question of the day.
It's giving me a second. All right, here we go. Number 20 in the list of random questions from ChatGPT. 913-586-7965 for you guys, obviously, as well. If you could relive one day of your life exactly as it happened, what day would it be?
So a day that already existed.
Yes. Yeah.
Oof. Well,
913-586-7965.
What do you? Whoa! Now you got you immediately shook your head. No,
I was trying to come up with
yours is easy.
It's my wedding
for
day.
Both of you
I'm
guys.
sorry.
You guys have such a cop out for your answer. Like you guys have such a cop out. You guys can just say wedding.
Logan and I, it's not the.
I was trying to think of an answer that wasn't my wedding day.
You and I cannot say that. Outside
that's
of
an easy answer for both of you.
For everybody who's listening, it's not your wedding day. Anything else?
Yeah, fair. There you go. Because that's
take it out because that's obviously the answer.
That should be the answer. Yeah. That's a good question, though. 913-586-7965. A day you want to relive. Man, look, this is going to seem selfish because of what we do for a living, but I'll tell you, being in Miami for the Super Bowl and seeing the team I grew up rooting for, the Chiefs, win the Super Bowl, I never thought I would see that, let alone be at it in my life. That's up there. That's a quick one that comes to mind. But being in Miami, watching the Chiefs win a Super Bowl for the first time in my life. I didn't know they were going to win 2 more after that. That's very high. I'd have to think about some others, but that's definitely in the running.
That same Super Bowl for me would be in the running. I wasn't, of course, there. So, I mean, the fact that you're there changes your perspective even more. But to not only to see the Chiefs win a Super Bowl, but to see like my family's reaction, like my mom and my grandma who have been born and raised Chiefs fans. You know, my grandma was little when they won the first one, and she went 50 years before she saw another one. My mom was in her mid-40s. She'd never seen the Chiefs win a Super Bowl. To see their reaction was really cool. Recency bias factors in a little bit, but Iowa beating Nebraska in the Sweet 16 to go to the Elite Eight. You know, they'd been to one Sweet 16 in my lifetime, and that was in 1999. They'd been to an Elite Eight, the first Elite Eight since 1987. I wasn't born yet. My dad was 13 years old. Like, to have that experience and to see Iowa reach a place that I never thought they'd get to, and to like I'm at my parents' house. I'm watching the game with my dad. Not to mention doing it against the University of Nebraska, which anybody who knows anything about me knows how much I despise the University of Nebraska and that entire fan base. That's a pretty good one for me.
Do you have one, Drew? Because then we can get some text. As you can imagine, the text line is turned at a certain angle for this one. Is there a day that comes to mind for you?
I would go back to, I don't remember the exact day, but 2015.
All right.
We got the opportunity my freshman year of college to go cover the Final Four. And, of course, Wisconsin was in it. Best Wisconsin basketball team of all time. My favorite team of all time. Any sport, any team. I got to go and interview Duhei Dukin, talk to Frank Kaminsky, Sam Decker, like just be involved in that and talk to Bo Ryan. I did a one-on-one with Andy North. That was awesome. Being able to do that was an epic experience. So I would say probably that. Or I would just say pick any day that you're on the beach in the Outer Banks and you just are relaxing and not thinking about anything. Your phone is away.
No, I like that. Yeah, I guess the Bahamas would have been high on my list too. That's solid. Okay, text line. Yes, a lot of you are texting in sexual things. I get it. Okay. Somebody else says their second divorce was amazing the day they got their second divorce.
Is that Bink texting in?
I think it is. Actually, it's an 816 number. It's clearly Bink. Yeah, clearly. Someone said so many naked people in my life.
The day my child support payment stopped, that was one from a 620.
Someone said their first threesome. I love how they said first. Let's see. Someone says, not a specific day, definitely a day when I was courting my wife. Someone says, the day they went fishing with their grandpa, and he fell into the lake and got drenched. Such an awesome day. Wow. I miss him so much. So it's just a good memory that you have. That's
that
cool.
Actually, you know what? That actually, I want to take back my answer. That actually, you could pick any time when both my grandparents were alive on my mom's side. I would just, I don't know, you wouldn't even have to just... If I could go back and relive it, I guess you'd relive it because I didn't realize what,
Sure.
But yeah, one of those like Thanksgivings that we would have up there. That was in Madison. Very good. Somebody said they won a $50,000 lottery ticket last year.
So you'd want to win it? Do you get it? Yeah, just you keep winning the rush of winning the lottery ticket over.
So, well, I mean, you could relive it, but
you don't get the money again.
Correct,
no, but you still get the same rush of winning the 50,000 is what they're saying. Okay, I think that's fair. Someone else said, obviously, a lot of people have said, the birth of their children, right? I understand. So I almost put that one in the same category of the wedding day. Like, doesn't count. We obviously know wedding day, birth of your child are clearly going to be the days that that stand out. But
that's a good one. After 40 years of addiction, I will celebrate 10 years cleaning sober in 2 months. So
good for you.
Celebrate
good
the day
for
you got sober. That's awesome.
Yeah, good for you. That's awesome.
Can I relive Logan and Drew's wedding days from my POV still? Did this person go to both our... Do we know? Do we have a common person here,
I guarantee this person did not. I
don't think this person went to either.
10,000% can say...
Did you have a big wedding? Drew's told us about his. Did you have a big wedding?
I had about 300 people at my wedding.
300? They might have been to yours, Logan.
300
Mine, they were not there. I guarantee it.
Yeah, it was. We had like 400 people on the invite list. It was... I don't remember anything. Like, the whole day is still a blur to me.
Just that crazy.
There's just so much going on, so many people that you're talking to. I cried through the whole ceremony. I was an absolute basket case the entire day. I'll admit that freely. I sobbed. It was awful.
That
was also great.
The random question of the day. All right, guys, up next, let's get to the NBA draft. We know Darren Peterson going to Utah, the fallout from that, what it means for his future, plus some other local ties. And one thing the NCAA did approve yesterday that I think is a great thing for all of college sports.
What's up, KC? It's Carter Jensen. You're listening to Cody and Gold on your home for Royals baseball, 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 96.5 The Fan.
Getting a little older doesn't have to mean, well, getting older. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you're feeling low energy, can't sleep, can't lose weight, are struggling with brain fog, or your sex drive is off, it's time to change it up. At Heartland Men's Health, our advanced medical strategies featuring TRT, GH peptides, NAD+, GLP-1s, PDA, and more treat low T and other hormonal issues to help you shed pounds, have more energy, enhance your body composition, improve sleep, increase your sex drive, and so much more. Getting you back in the game again. So don't be older. Be stronger in the gym. Be sharper at work. Be better in the bedroom, and be more confident in every part of your life. So call us today and find out how our advanced treatment strategies could change the game for you. Your first visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on one of our advanced treatment plans on the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
Feature therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
Today's match day preview is presented by Fanatics Sportsbook. Download the Fanatics Sportsbook app today. Winning hits different here. Japan will take on Sweden in Arlington, Texas, with both teams looking to win Group F, while the USA will face Turkey in Inglewood, California, already clinching Group D. Group F will be a race to the end between Netherlands, Japan, and Sweden. Netherlands and Japan have 4 points, while Sweden has 3. Netherlands is a comfortable -800 favorite against Tunisia, so they should win the group. But Japan and Sweden still have a chance, and at the very least will be battling for second place. Japan is -105 to win the match, while Sweden is +310. The USA have already locked up Group D and are expected to play a lot of reserves in their match against Turkey. This is why the USA is only a -105 favorite in the match. This has been your official Odyssey Sports Match Day preview brought to you by Fanatics Sportsbook. Winning hits different here. Listen in ahead of each match day for the latest betting insights from Fanatics all tournament long.
So, you're ready to propose, huh?
Yeah, man. She's definitely the one.
What are we thinking about the ring? I got my wife's at Hellsberg. I couldn't recommend a better jeweler.
I could use some help with that.
Man, go to Hellsberg. I had no idea how many details you need to consider. Did you know you can get a natural or lab-grown diamond? I didn't. Figure out what she wants. Trust me, they'll make it happen.
Start your story with Hellsberg. Shop in store or at hellsberg.com.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Subaru, and it's time to make a big deal out of nothing. Announcing Lee Summit Subaru's 0% event.
Get up to 0% on select 2026 Subaru models for up to 72 months.
And we have the largest selection of Subaru certified vehicles in Kansas City, starting as low as 1.9% for 72 months.
0% event and a lifetime warranty. Fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru.
based on January 2025 through June 2025 Kansas City inventory listings.
Hi, I'm Sam Silvio with M. Shamus Brazilian Grill in the village of Burlington Creek. What's the best way to describe M. Shamus? It's a feast of 14 meat, full rodizio, and 30 choices at our famous hot and cold gourmet bar. More items than most any other Brazilian grill experience. Dine in or retreat to our Inferno bar for lighter fare, small plates, and the best wine and spirits. Or enjoy our patio dining. Go to mshamus.com and discover the joy of eating.
Feeling the squeeze of high prices? Then stretch your budget this Friday through Sunday at Hy-Vee. Stock up and save big with 99-cent deals throughout the store. Get special recipe brats, pork loin ribeye, Dole salad kits, and more for just 99 cents. Fill your cart for less with red-hot deals on hundreds of items. Order online or through the Hy-Vee app and leave the shopping to us. Don't miss the 99-cent sale this weekend only at Hy-Vee.
Soccer Fever is in Kansas City, and Hy-Vee is your headquarters for official merchandise, apparel, tailgate, and watch party needs. And Hy-Vee makes game day so easy. They have ready-to-go wings, pizza, party trays, charcuterie, and, of course, all those delicious sweet treats. If you're planning a cookout, great. Hy-Vee special recipe brats, burgers, and steaks are the best. Check out their match day meat bundle for only $30. And don't forget about Hy-Vee's wine and spirits department. For all of your game day needs, count on Hy-Vee.
See website for details. BillsHappen.com is not a lender. It does not make credit decisions. Must be 18 years old. Not available in all states.
Honey, everything is so expensive, and our bills are piling up.
You're telling me credit cards are maxed out, rent is due, and the car payment's right around the corner? We need some extra cash.
We should do what my friend from work did. She went to BillsHappen.com and got the money she needed the next day.
Our credit is not great. Are you sure that would work for us?
BillsHappen.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with all credit types get up to $5,000.
Sounds like it's going to be a hassle.
My friend said it was super easy. She did it right from her phone during her lunch break.
If you have a regular source of income, you can be approved for a loan for up to $5,000, and your cash can hit your bank account the next day. BillsHappen.com's lenders have millions of dollars to lend, regardless of your credit history.
Guess what? I went to BillsHappen.com, and we're getting our money tomorrow.
Wow, that's fast. Problem solved.
If you need extra cash, go to BillsHappen.com. That's BillsHappen.com. BillsHappen.com.
If your engine takes longer to start in the morning than you do, don't worry. Just take it to Telly. Schedule your service at tellytire.com. You know how avoiding eye contact with people when your brakes screech makes it less awkward? It doesn't. But you can just take it to Telly. Schedule your service at tellytire.com.
Hey, it's Rob Brenton, and now that the tournament has started here in Kansas City, we're keeping you up to date on Beyond the Pitch KC. So subscribe and download today. The podcast is presented by Commerce Bank. Visit commercebank.com/soccer26. Available on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Join 96.5 The Fan at the Peanut on State Line, Thursday, June 25th, as C-Dot and Rob broadcast live starting at 2, with kickoff to follow at 9 o'clock. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ-FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
1 o'clock hour here on a Wednesday. Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Drew Nixon producing the show. Logan Weber in for Cody today. He'll also be with me on Friday. Tomorrow, we actually don't have a show. Weird Royals scheduling quirk. They're in Tampa, and the game starts at 11 o'clock our time. So that means Vern's on the air tomorrow with his On Deck show at 10 a.m. It's honestly, I think, the first time we've ever had a Royals game, I feel like, since we've started. And there's been rain delay ones that have moved schedules around, but had a Royals game start at 11 a.m. I don't know if we've ever literally not had a show because of a Royals game. We've had like a 1 hour. We've had a 1 hour show before, certainly a 2 hour show before, but I've never had it where we just don't have one because of a Royals game. But that's happening tomorrow, and it's in Tampa, and because it's indoors, the weather won't, we know that's for sure happening.
Yeah.
So just a heads up on the programming. And as I mentioned to you earlier, on Friday, it's a Fan Club Friday. And so at 1 o'clock, we'll have, I think it'd be a ton of fun. We're going to have members of the Dutch Fan Club, basically Dutch Club KC for, of course, Netherlands playing their World Cup match on Thursday night. And the next day, we'll have 3 members of that club come in studio, which will be fun, fan club. So that'll be a lot of, I think, different than what we've normally had. And one of the individuals that's coming in actually flew in from the Netherlands The other two live here in Kansas City, but they're Netherlands fans, and I don't know their full background, but we'll have some fun with that. We're trying to figure out. I feel like I was talking to the boss about this. Anybody have a recommendation on what Dutch beer we should bring in? We were looking we all Googled and we're like, it says like Heineken and stuff. But I want to know, give me that we can actually find in Kansas City a good Dutch beer so we can bring in for our Dutch friends that are going to be hanging out with us on Friday.
Something that's not like readily available, that isn't something that people drink pretty commonly in the United States. Like, Heineken is the one that comes up when you Google it. It's like, Heineken, we've known about Heineken for a while. Yeah. Is there something a little bit more obscure under the radar that we could find in the city that they would really get a kick out of like, oh my goodness, I can't believe you found that here.
So we'll work on that over the next 24 to 48 hours or so. Let's talk NBA draft for a bit, guys, before we get back to some NCAA news, including what they're approving, and I think it's a great sign for college sports, college football in particular. But last night, no surprises necessarily in the top 5. Most of the mock drafts were correct, but locally, Darren Peterson goes number 2 overall to the Utah Jazz. And I thought it was interesting and maybe reminds us that smokescreen stuff applies to the NBA draft as much as it does the NFL draft, which was there's a ton of noise that like maybe Darren Peterson didn't want to go to Utah or he preferred another destination. And look, he maybe preferred another destination. That still can be true. But then last night, the way he talked and some of the other reporting from NBA insiders suggested that maybe Darren Peterson did enjoy his conversations with the Jazz, not just what he was saying after the fact, that he liked the energy level out there, likes what they're trying to build out there. Danny Ainge, of course, is the team president or whatever of that organization. And so I think Darren Peterson is going to have no issue, as we all know, scoring in the NBA. The question still with him is whether or not he's consistently going to be available and healthy. And I have a feeling, and maybe it'll frustrate KU fans, I have a feeling we're going to look ahead 3 years from now and we're going to say, remember that weird, bizarre college season that he had and he barely played, and here he's in the NBA and he's playing as much as anybody in the league. And for his sake, I hope that's the case. But I think he'll have no problem scoring. It's why he's got the 3rd best odds to win Rookie of the Year. Maybe he doesn't win it, but he absolutely is going to be in play in terms of some of the highest scoring rookie players this upcoming NBA season. Did you like that he went to Utah? Would you prefer him somewhere else? I always just get nervous about going to Utah from just the attention that you get by going to Utah versus if you were on more of a contender. Now, maybe Utah surprises us, and in a year or two, they're one of the better teams in the West. It's just it's hard to imagine that they can elevate themselves to a top 3 or 4 team in the West anytime soon.
Probably not anytime soon, but I do like the landing spot for Darren Peterson in Utah. If he had been picked 1 by the Washington Wizards, there's a bit of a logjam situation there. He's having to play a 2 guard a little bit more often than in that position, with Trae Young now getting the max contract and Anthony Davis. It's very clear that he's the 3rd option right off the bat. He's going to have a little bit more freedom because there's not as many expectations in Utah. The number 1 option one night could be Lauri Markkanen. The next night it could be him. The next night it could be Keontae George or even an Ace Bailey. I like this Utah team as a landing spot for him because he's young. The talent is there, but they're not going to be upended if he tries to force himself a little bit more into the grand scheme of things. And he's not being asked to do everything, right? Like if he had gone to, say, Memphis at number 3, right? If Utah goes Cam Boozer and he lands in Memphis, I would feel incredibly bad for Darren Peterson because Cameron Boozer, there's a reason he's got the best Rookie of the Year odds. And it's not because I believe he's the best rookie. It's because he's not going to have any help. There's no Jaren Jackson Jr. to back him up. There's no Desmond Bane to back him up. Can John Morant get his head out of his rear long enough to be a contributing piece if he's even on the roster by the time we hit the season next year? So I just look at it from the perspective of he kind of got a good mix. There's good talent already in Utah, but it's evident that they need more in order to take the next step or get to the next level. And a young trio, a young core is of Darren Peterson, Keontae George, Lauri Markkanen, and Ace Bailey. That's really intriguing if you're the Utah Jazz. Is it immediately going to make you a playoff team this year in year 1? No. But by the time you get to year 3, year 4 of Darren Peterson in the NBA, when he gets to that 22, 23-year-old range, and you see how he's been able to mesh with Markkanen and Keontae George and Ace Bailey, then things could get really interesting for Utah.
Yeah, I think it's a good spot for him to go. I'm intrigued by just the new, if they can all stay healthy, because they've had Lauri Markkanen's been in and out. Keontae George got hurt a little bit towards the end of the year. Ace Bailey gets his footing. It feels like they can be a team that can compete for a playoff spot, like play-in range. The West being so difficult, though, I think it'll be tough. But I think in terms of the spot, forget the stardom aspect of it. But from a team aspect of players around him, where I think he's not going to be asked to do everything for them, it's a good spot to be in compared to if he were in Memphis in particular, or even Chicago or any of the other places later. Like, it's weird. The Wizards and Jazz, based on what they've done and what they have, are almost better spots for you to go and not necessarily win right away, but just be surrounded by more talent than you would be in Memphis, or you would be in Brooklyn, or you would be in Sacramento. The Clippers are interesting because we don't even know if Kawhi's going to be on the roster, because there's talk on whether or not he'll leave or whether he'll get traded or he doesn't sign an extension. They got Darius Garland there as well, which is good for Keaton Waugler. I think it allows him to play more off ball and be the shooter that, we know he is. So I don't know. I like it for Darren Peterson.
Yeah, the odds, by the way, out there for Rookie of the Year, Cam Boozer is the favorite, plus 250. AJ plus 275. Acuff and Peterson have the same odds at 3-1, and then there's a big drop off as you would expect. Caleb Williams, who ends up in Caleb Wilson. I'm sorry. You know how many Chicago fans are going to do that? Caleb Wilson in Chicago, Caleb Williams in Chicago as well. But Caleb Wilson is 10-1, and then it's a huge drop off. If you're wondering, Wagler is 25-1. To win Rookie of the Year. But what you were kind of saying, Drew, the reason why Boozer's the favorite is because he's going to be doing everything.
He's going to be asked to do everything. He's going to be asked to play 35 minutes a night.
That's why I think Darius Acuff is going to win it, because that man is
3-1.
He's all Sacramento has. I mean, it's him and Sabonis, but Darius Acuff, I think, is one of only two players in the last, what they put up the stat, one of two players in the last 40, 50 years to average 20 and to lead the team in points and assists in the same season, along with Pistol Pete. I think Darius Acuff, in terms of just the scoring and the love that we have for it from a statistical nature, I think that Darius Acuff has a good shot of winning it, just from the standpoint of what he could potentially do in Sacramento from just a scoring standpoint.
How dare you? Keegan Murray averaged 14 points a game for the Kings last year, Drew. How dare you? No, you're right.
He is better than his brother.
Yeah, Chris ain't doing the job there in Portland.
He has not panned out.
I agree with this text. Someone says Boozer has the highest floor.
Correct.
Floor for sure. I still think Darren Peterson has the highest ceiling still. I mean, I think he has the highest ceiling. But yeah, floor, Boozer.
It is interesting.
I think AJ's floor is pretty damn high too.
If he can turn himself into a 38 to 40% if he can be a consistent 3-point shooter, AJ Debance quickly becomes a guy that could contend for MVP awards. Now, his passing ability is not all there, right? And at BYU, he wasn't asked to do that, so maybe that's why the numbers were so far down. It was, hey, go score 30 a night, especially after Richie Saunders went down. So maybe we're being a little bit overly critical of Debance's passing. He just doesn't have the all-around tools that I think Boozer and Darren Peterson have. And if that jump shot doesn't bring itself along, he's an undersized Giannis Antetokounmpo in my view.
No, I think you're right. I think you're spot on about the jump shot. It's the same thing with Caleb Wilson. If Caleb Wilson gets a jump shot, he actually might be better than everybody that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Because I think from the athleticism standpoint, the dude can just do everything. Like he is a freak of nature from an athletic standpoint. He's great on defense. If he can get a jumper, then Caleb Wilson might actually be the best player in this draft class, because he's that good from the standpoint of what else he brings to the table.
We'll follow this as Summer League gets going as well and see how some of the guys do with Bennett Sturts, local ties, Wagler, of course, Darren Peterson. We'll keep an eye on that out in Las Vegas. I feel like you both would probably love this. I know Carrington's gone out there for Summer League. I feel like you guys will both be in heaven going out to Summer League.
I'd enjoy some Summer League.
I feel like both of you would enjoy that. I love Vegas. Summer League, it depends on the year. Right? This year would be a fun year to go to Summer League. Like, I guess this would be a good year to go out there for it. Some years, we don't know. I mean, the year Wemby was there, didn't he get hurt early and barely played? Is that what happened in Summer League or something?
Or he got hurt prior to Summer League.
So he ended up playing like one game in Summer League.
I don't even know if he played in Summer League. I know Cooper didn't play in Summer League at all.
So that's the thing. Is the expectation that these guys are out of the top 3 or 4 picks that they're all supposed to play in Summer League this year? Because that'd be a fun year to go if that's the case.
I don't know. I'd rather go to see them play in a regular NBA game than go to summer league.
Of course, yeah. I mean, yes,
but yeah, I mean, it'd be cool to go see him play, I suppose.
Wemby played in 2 summer league games where he averaged 18 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 blocks per game over the course of the season. And then they shut him down.
Yeah, it's just not necessary for those guys to do it, but I get why they might play.
Summer leagues become more of a testing ground for those last couple of roster spots. It's no longer about the first-round picks. It's about the second-round pick who doesn't have a guaranteed deal trying to prove himself, or maybe
Melvin Council Jr. that made it on a team late.
Undrafted free agent that is just trying to carve out a spot, whether it be on the G League team, get a two-way deal, or somehow, some way make the NBA roster. That's what it's become more about with summer league, kind of like with training camp in the NFL.
Let's get back to the college side of things here a little bit. I thought this was a really good sign for the NCAA yesterday, where they unanimously approved a new 5-year age-based model. So here's the rule. We kind of talked about this a few weeks ago where they were proposing it, but under the rule, athletes in all sports will get 5 years of eligibility over 5 seasons, which you're like, well, that makes a lot of sense. Like, no kidding. It seems so simple. The clock starts upon your initial full-time enrollment in college or the beginning of the academic year following your 19th birthday, whatever occurs first. So this is going to eliminate the need for red shirts and waivers. Remember, the waivers has been a big problem for the NCAA. I think this is great. I love this. Look, if you could stay healthy and you're young enough, you can play 5 years in college if you wanted to. Or hey, look, you get hurt, it happens, or you're just not ready to play your freshman year. We're not going to do this red shirt stuff. You got 5 years to play. Some guys are going to play 5 years, some will play 4, some will play less. I think this is a great idea moving forward. The question that I have, and we already saw lawsuits happen 24 hours after this, is, well, what do you do now? Like, are people grandfathered in? Is that the thought? Because attorneys have filed 3, first of the cases, I guess there's 3 now, about players seeking an additional year of eligibility. What has happened is there are 50 players that now want a 5th season in light of the rule. Ones that just finished. They're like, wait, you changed the rule. Now they want a 5th year. They were 4-year players. And now they want a 5th year. So this is the short-term headache the NCAA is going to have to figure out. Are they going to be grandfathered in even though they didn't start on this? Or should the NCAA say, hey, look, that wasn't the rule when you were in college. Sorry.
According to the language of this new 5 for 5 that was passed, they are not grandfathered in. Athletes who just completed their 4th season of eligibility without a red shirt would not be granted an additional year. Now, for players that are entering their 4th year this year, it then becomes a question for the individual institutions. They have the flexibility to determine if they give them the 5th year in 5, or if they say, no, it's time for you to move on and do things elsewhere. So, as far as I can tell, I don't know what these lawsuits are going to do, considering the language of the law itself says that folks that completed their 4 years of eligibility this past season, they're not grandfathered in. Their careers are set and done with.
Part of me is like, look, that when you committed to that school, when you started entering the collegiate athletics, this was not the way it was in terms of eligibility. I would just that's just kind of the way it is.
Yeah.
We'll find out. The courts are going to determine it. But in general, this just makes way too much sense. Like, you just tell anybody that hasn't even followed any of the college stuff. Let's say you're like completely oblivious to any of the mess that has become this college eligibility stuff. And I just told you, hey, so you're going to get 5 years. And your 5 years of eligibility, you play for 5 years, and that's it. You don't get to try to play for 6 or 7 years. You'd be like, okay, well yeah, that makes sense to me. Like, this seems like absolute common sense for the NCAA to finally implement this.
Yeah, it seems like something that, like, when it seemed like nobody really had the thought until the first time a news article came out and was like, what if they just did 5 for 5? Red shirts are gone. Medical waivers are gone. You get to college at 18. You're out at 23. Figure it out in that 5-year span. Everybody's like, oh, damn, why weren't we doing that before? It just seems to make all the sense in the world. Now, the fun part is going to be that some guy is going to come out and start as a freshman, and he's going to score 3,500 career points in his college career, and everybody's going to be up in arms because he broke their record.
Well,
this just feels like the right idea. I mean, getting rid of the red shirts and the waivers and everything, and giving everybody the same, hey, this is what it means. Not, okay, you were hurt here, you're applying for this hardship waiver, this committee's got to meet, and this lack of real consistency in their decision-making process of like, oh, well, this guy who played in 4 games, he gets the medical waiver, but this guy who played in 3 doesn't. It eliminates all of that excess headache that was just so unnecessary and will maybe allow for the NCAA to focus on some more important issues, like, I don't know, putting together a better legal plan when somebody sues you for not being able to play college sports after he bet $90,000 on events he was involved in.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, someone points it out. They're like, this is what it kind of used to be like, but the last 15 years has gotten crazier. Yeah, but red shirts have been around for longer than 15 years, though. But yeah, it's gotten just way worse with the court battles and everything. Now, this is important to know. This is the Division I cabinet. I don't know how they work this out if a player goes from D2 and then he somehow transfers to a D1 school. Does he fall under the same? I don't know. This was approved by the D1 NCAA cabinet. That gets very specific. I mean, there's probably only a handful of cases where you have somebody that goes from Division II all the way up to D1 school or something like that. But I guess there could be a problem down the road with
Trinidad
that.
Chambliss, Bennett Sturts, good players that we've seen go from D2 to D1 and be very, very good. So
I don't know what they would do in that. Do you think they would just – yeah, honestly, what do you think they would do with this then? If this is only a D1 rule, I don't know. Maybe the Division II will end up passing it.
I don't know. There's a lot more D2 players that go D1, especially in football, than we realize. Like there's a lot more D2 players that go D1.
Will they
by next year? This thing will be in D2.
Yeah, just make a uniform,
or it could be in the next couple of weeks.
Just make a uniform.
Maybe the Division II Council, if that's a thing that exists, was just waiting on the decision from the Division I Council, and now they'll be able to implement it themselves. And then the Division III Council. I'm incredibly curious of what this is going to mean for junior college sports and the impact that it will have there, the impact that it will have on these postgraduate schools that we're starting to see crop up everywhere. Because between COVID and the medical waivers and the red shirts and all these, it's left so many high school kids in the last half decade completely in limbo about where their next stop is going to be. These guys that are incredibly talented who go unrecruited, especially in a sport like, say, college baseball, because they just don't have enough scholarships available because these guys are hanging around so long. I think it also gives these coaches opportunities to know without a shadow of a doubt, completely definitively, what their situation looks like year over year, excluding, of course, transfer portal and those sorts of things. It's just one less headache, I think, for collegiate sports as a whole, not just the NCAA.
Yeah. This is one step in the right direction. We all know they're still on the Senate floor, right, or waiting to go on the Senate floor at the U.S. Congress. There's the big college sports bill to be determined on what's going to happen with that. They still have some time to potentially pass that. That would be the big sweeping change to collegiate sports, although there's a lot of hurdles there, and you never know. It's politics, right? So you never know when anything is going to happen on that realm. But this just made too much sense. I was happy to see. We didn't get to it yesterday. The news came out, I think, yesterday morning, but this made a lot of sense. Someone was like, is this going to remove the pros in other countries coming to college sports? This particular rule doesn't do anything.
Doesn't address that.
Yeah, this is just collegiate eligibility, 5 years, 5 years. Like,
we also don't know if that rule that's in the Protect College Sports Act is for international players coming over to the U.S., or it's if players in the U.S. go pro and then they try to come back to college.
But hold on, as I say that,
okay,
right, this new clock begins from the moment that a full-time enrollment in college begins. Then it is a 5-year period.
It includes JUCO, I think. If you get into JUCO, the year counts in JUCO.
For these pro players, say, I mean, for example, some of these guys that have come back to college, they played college basketball. And then they went and they got drafted, or they didn't get drafted and they played in the G League.
So you're saying it's been 5 years.
I believe that 5 year, from the moment you start, it's 5 years from that moment. So if 5 years ends and a guy tries to come back at, say, 24 years old, I don't think he can. Because it just sounds like it's a running clock.
What if somebody leaves college early, makes a mistake, though?
You can't come back.
I don't know. That's a
for
valid question.
For the Protect College
No, he's talking about...
I'm talking about with this...
He's talking about this 5-year thing.
I don't think that has any... Yeah. I don't think that has... There's no rule around the going pro and then coming back thing.
They're calling it an age-based model.
Correct. If you turn... Either it's when you enroll or when you turn 19. So is when the clock starts.
So I think Logan is saying, though, that what happens, let's say you're a high school kid, you turn 19, you go to college for 2 years or whatever, okay, and then you try to go to the NBA draft, you make a mistake, you go undrafted, but you play in the G League for a year. you technically, do you have 2 years left or 1 year left? Could you go back to college?
I don't think
then?
you have any because according to at least what NCAA bylaws you lose your eligibility when you turn pro, you lose your eligibility.
But we know that's not held up to this point in time. I think yes, but that's not held up. That was the whole situation.
And honestly, I don't have the biggest issue in the world with it. If a guy is playing in, say, the G League or he's playing in a professional league overseas, the minute that I see a guy who actually touched an NBA floor come back to college, then I feel like it's time to burn it all down.
See, I take it a step further on that. I think if you played professional basketball, I don't care if it's the United States or in Europe, to me, you should not be able to just come back and play college
eliminates
ball.
a huge swath of the international recruiting.
No. See, but Logan, I think it's different. I think if you're American born and you go overseas to play, because if you're European, you can go pro at 16.
Right.
You're technically not eligible for the NCAA at that point yet, anyways. So I think like for guys like I'll use I don't know. There's guys on Illinois.
Adimara.
Yeah, Adimara.
There's an example.
There's guys on Illinois' team.
Yeah.
There's guys on Wisconsin's team, for example, also that played like professionally at like 16, 17. Then they came over at 18 to college. So I think for those guys, I think that would be fine because they entered professionally before they could have been eligible for a college in the United States, anyways. As opposed to if you or I enrolled in college, played basketball for 2 years, then went to Spain and played for a year, and then tried to come back again. I think that's the difference. If you're internationally born and come over, I think it's a little bit different than if you're American born, go pro, and then come back again.
So then I guess the hypothetical becomes
after the clock started.
If you've got an American born player who goes overseas at 16 and plays professionally for 2 years and then comes back, is that okay? I don't know. It feels like
I wouldn't allow it.
At straws a little bit.
I wouldn't allow it, but I guess under the current situation, you could probably get away with it. We just don't know what's going to happen with the bill in Congress and how that could change all this kind of stuff.
That would be interesting because like LaMelo Ball, for instance, went to Australia, didn't go to college, but that was to get to the NBA because he had to do something before he can enroll, which is an NBA problem anyways.
Right.
Up next, guys, let's get to a quick What's Trending. We'll talk about a former college coach heading to the broadcast booth. And is Major League Baseball doing something with the baseballs themselves? Has that led to the uptick in home runs all across baseball the last month or so?
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Follow the station on Instagram for ticket giveaways and behind-the-scenes content from the show at The Fan 965.
Fanatics Sportsbook makes being a sports fan more rewarding every single day. When you bet with Fanatics, you earn up to 10% fan cash on your bets, whether you win or lose. Fan cash is Fanatics' exclusive loyalty currency, and it's not just points, because every dollar of fan cash is a dollar you can spend on anything at Fanatics, like your favorite team gear on Fanatics.com, profit boosts and bonus bets on Fanatics Sportsbook, or on tickets, collectibles, and so much more. That's what makes Fanatics Sportsbook the most rewarding place to be a fan, no matter your game. So download Fanatics Sportsbook now and start stacking up fan cash all playoffs long to spend on the stuff you love the most. Fanatics Sportsbook. Winning hits different here. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-MyReset. CT call 888-789-7777. MA call 800-327-5050. NY call 877-8-HOPE-NY. MD visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Offer not available in all states. Terms apply. See Fanatics Sportsbook app.
At Liberty Mutual, we love helping people with things like customizing car insurance, just like how we customize a song for you. Catered country tune. Liberty Mutual, saving you bucks by protecting your truck. 'Cause Birdie told me to only pay for what I need. Thank you, Limu. I'll always trust in Limu with Liberty, 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 Liberty.
Come score the shirt with 96.5 The Fan as we'll be in the Lightwell office building at 11th and Main in downtown KC Mo every Wednesday between 11 and 1 during the World Soccer Championship, giving away shirts, gift cards, and more. Lightwell, managed by Area, owned by Samara Road.
He's a former coach with 2 sons who played professional basketball. Satch Sullinger's a competitive individual, but his golf game was suffering because of painful joints.
Right, that's real important. The golf game. Right. As we get older, we create these bad habits because we're relegated to hit a certain way.
QC Kinetics used regenerative treatments, all natural healing properties from Satch's own body, to restore those damaged joints and get his golf game back on track.
QC Kinetics Regenerative Medicine is regenerating me, all natural. And that's what I'm about. I'm going to tell everybody why I'm better.
Oh, and by the way, looks like the competitive Satch is back.
We're all in the same boat, and I'm getting better, and I'm watching them stay old.
Go to QCkinetics.com. Get relief and your game back. Call for your complimentary consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
Hi, I'm Carter. And I'm Charlie. We'd like to share a quick story about a homeowner named Jack. Jack had a home he needed to sell fast. And Jack thought he had it all figured out. So Jack talked to multiple cash buyers. Jack chose the highest offer. But the day before closing, guess what? The buyer backed out, leaving Jack with the moving truck all packed in the driveway and not sure what to do. Jack learned the hard way that the highest offer isn't always the right offer. Jack got suckered. Make sure you aren't hung out to dry. Call our dad at Rex Buys KC. Our dad is local, he knows Kansas City, and he actually closes deals. No repairs, no fees, no showings, no surprises. Just a fair cash offer and a smooth process. Now, don't be like Jack. Call 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com. Rex Buys KC, helping people make smart choices one home at a time.
This summer, Casey's has 89-cent medium fountain and new Frostbite by Casey's drinks. But if you don't have 89 cents, you could check your center console, dig between your couch cushions, ask Grandma for $1, or just use your credit card. 89-cent medium Frostbite by Casey's or fountain drinks at Casey's all summer long. Restrictions may apply. See store for details.
Join us at 96.5 The Fans World Soccer Headquarters at the Peanut on State Line, June 25th with the drive starting at 2 and kickoff at 9. Presented by Truly, the official seltzer of U.S. Soccer, and by Security Bank of Kansas City, boldly local since 1933.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/team. That's ZipRecruiter.com/team.
ZipRecruiter. I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this. Come score the shirt with 96.5 The Fan as we'll be in the Lightwell office building at 11th and Main in downtown KC-Mo every Wednesday between 11 and 1 during the World Soccer Championship, giving away shirts, gift cards, and more. Lightwell, managed by Area, owned by Samara Road. What's trending?
Cheddar, mozzarella, Havarti. Number 1 on What's Trending, the Royals continue their series against the Rays this evening. 5:40 first pitch here on 96.5 The Fan. Vern's on Deck show. At 4:30, it'll be Noah Cameron on the bump. And, of course, all the attention on Jack Caglione. Can he continue this ridiculous month of April that he is having? For those maybe not keeping track, 6 homers in his last 5 games. He had 2 yesterday, continues the multi-home run games. He is doing things as a player of his age that we haven't seen since Reggie Jackson. He's got 3 multi-homer games over his last 14.
Since they started tracking bat speed in 2023, there have only been 2 players with multiple games with 2 or more home runs, each with bat speeds over 82 miles an hour. Kyle Schwarber, and yesterday, Jack Caglione became the other. He is absolutely hitting the cover off the baseball. I don't care what StatCast says. That ball went over 450 feet. I'm willing to put my bank account on it. That thing was mashed.
Yeah, when it hits something in a stadium like the catwalk, the StatCast doesn't track it anymore, but it definitely was further than that. Also, don't forget today, Chris Bubich making one of probably a couple rehab assignments with Omaha in AAA as they try to work him back. And can he showcase himself enough to where you can trade him here in the next month or so? That's honestly what you're hoping for.
Also on what's trending, how about big news out of the NBA? Austin Reeves signing a 4-year, $185 million max extension with the Los Angeles Lakers. When we got the news, Drew, the only thing you said to me was, keep Luka Doncic happy. Feels like that move is doing that.
Good. Make Luka happy. If you want to keep Luka, be happy. And they win a title with paying him that much? Probably not. Probably not. The team's not built to win right now. But yeah. It's a big deal for Austin Reeves. Good for him. $46 million per year. Good for him.
Yeah. Elsewhere, text line. You guys didn't catch me. I said April, not June. You guys didn't catch me. Text line says, Gold, did you say April? What world are you living in? I meant June. I meant June for Cags. I wish he had this month of April.
Yeah,
the Royals might be in a completely different spot if Cags had this month of April. Someone says, Gold, it's almost July, not effing April. All right. Elsewhere on what's trending, World Cup. We got 6 matches today. Coming up in 25 minutes, we got 2. We got 6 all the way around. Bosnia, Qatar. We've got Switzerland and Canada. Then we got Morocco and Haiti at 5. Scotland, Brazil at 5. 2 games at 8 o'clock tonight. Czechia and Mexico. And then what should be a fun one, Korea, South Korea, and South Africa. So a busy day in the World Cup.
No question.
I also saw some good news on the transportation stuff for those going to the match tomorrow at Arrowhead, Tunisia and Netherlands. I saw the FIFA KC, they announced that they're diverting a couple of the other non-stadium direct routes tomorrow to the stadium, meaning they're going to have some more buses, it sounds like, in circulation to hopefully create less of an issue. We know Saturday went off smoothly with Ecuador and Curacao, but it was not rush hour traffic. Tomorrow, the game's at 6. I mean, I'm leaving at 2 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow to go to the match because I don't want to mess with.
Are they open? Are the
Drew's
gates
leaving early tomorrow too, I think.
Are they going to open the gates any sooner than they have been? Because I heard that was a huge part of the traffic issue was opening the gates 2 hours before, and they didn't open the stadium for people until an hour before the match started. I understand that the FIFA World Cup is not a normal Chiefs game at Arrowhead Stadium, but if there's something you need to know about the folks of Kansas City or the Midwest, we get to things pretty early, even if we're not tailgating. So, yeah, opening up the gates sooner than 2 hours before the match starts to avoid backing up Art 435 and I-70, probably a good idea, FIFA.
We'll talk more about it on Friday, our experience with all of it. I know Drew's going to the march tomorrow as well.
That also changed times,
and
by the way.
They moved up the start of the meeting, not the march itself, right? Isn't the march still 11:15?
As well.
11:15, or what's the time?
The march time was 12:15. It's now 11:15, and then the party starts at 9:15, I think.
Okay.
If you want to do the jumping sideways thing and the chant, you probably need to be there for the party, not just.
They're not going to do that during the walk.
They might do it during the walk, but I think the party is where
we'll have it.
They really get ready for
9:15 a.m.
Yeah, I'll be down there. I'll be down there.
We don't have a show tomorrow, as we've talked about, so he'll be down there. I think Mac and Dusty
are
going there, and then we'll find out. We'll be able to talk Friday about all that and the different paths. Drew's taking a bus to the game. We ended up doing the parking pass. We'll see how hectic both are.
9:15
tomorrow.
It's gonna be a long day, but it's gonna be a fun day.
Can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning, right?
Look, it's the only time in our life we're gonna probably be able to go to a World Cup match. So that's certainly in Kansas City. So that is what's trending, by the way. Here on Cody and Gold, as you can hear, Logan Weber filling in for Cody today, and he'll be with us on Friday as well for the rest of this week. Hope you guys are having a good Wednesday. Did want to mention, we kind of teased it before the break, a couple things. One, there is a coach. There's a coach getting into broadcasting. Did you see what's happening? Brian Kelly is going to call games for CBS this year. This just came out. He's going to join CBS Sports as a college football analyst this upcoming season. He's going to call Mountain West games.
He seems more like an in-studio guy to me, but that'll be interesting. The
Yeah,
Mountain West
I don't
is
know.
going to be really good this year.
I don't know how Brian Kelly will do. I actually think if he doesn't try to fake the accent, then I think he'll be all right. The issue was, he was phony. I think he actually can be pretty decent.
I'm here with my family.
As long as he doesn't fake anything
Just
and
wait
it's
till
just
he's doing a
himself.
North Dakota game and he's saying North Dakota.
Oh, geez.
North Dakota.
Yeah, something tells me
I'm here with my family.
Up in the Dakotas.
Just don't fake your accent. If that's not your accent, don't fake it.
I just don't. I agree with you, Drew. I think he'd be a much better in-studio guy because studio hosts or studio commentators, you don't have to have a personality. Like, you kind of have to have a little bit of a personality if you're in the booth for a game, like especially as a color commentator. Now, sometimes the on-air guys, the play-by-play guys, the Musburgers and the Al Michaels, those guys can bring personality to it to maybe take a little bit of pressure off. But the best color commentators are the one who bring the personality to it, and I can't imagine listening to Brian Kelly either trying to quickly learn the dialect of the region that he's broadcasting the game in, or bringing his bland Ferris Bueller professor personality to the broadcast booth is going to be of any benefit to CBS
As long
Sports.
as he's saying the NDSU team name correctly. Not
the Bison?
Yeah, Bison. You got to make sure you say that correctly.
Yeah, I can't say Bison.
Yep, correct.
And also, you don't want. I guess I was going to say, I guess he won't be calling Boise State games because they're not in the Mountain West anymore. Otherwise, that's a mistake. They're not. It's not Boise. It's Boise.
He might be calling a college football playoff team. I mean, New Mexico is going to be really good. North Dakota State, obviously, really good. So I mean, he's going to be calling some good talent out there in the Mountain West.
So it does. The article does also say that he will be in the studio as an analyst for Inside College Football, which is their weekday show.
Okay,
this season as well.
That actually is one of the best college football shows that we have. There's the few that
So
we
we
have.
got him doing two different things. He's taking a year off from coaching, collect a check from everybody.
Guess so. Take a year off and wait to
Still
see
getting
what
paid
jobs
from
open up.
LSU. He'll get back into coaching next year, don't you guys think?
So. I think so.
Probably. Yep.
I would imagine he would.
How old is Brian Kelly?
He's probably in his 60s, I would say. 61,
He'll
62?
be 65 in October.
Oh, okay, older than I thought.
I think I could see him
He just
coaching
needs to land in the right spot, in my opinion.
Midwest.
He's got to land somewhere.
Sure, he can coach your Badgers here pretty soon.
Probably.
It depends on how they do this year. But
It's a good fit for
if
him.
Luke Fickell's not there, then Brian Kelly would make sense.
I feel like he's got to go somewhere
If
where
Kirk Ferentz retires, he could go coach the
No!
Iowa Hawkeyes.
Hey, perfect.
That is the last thing on
You don't want
planet
Kirk
Earth I
Ferentz
want.
to retire?
It's not that I don't want Kirk Ferentz to
He's
retire.
been there way too damn long.
He's still one of the top 20 best coaches in college football, though. So shout out to Kirk Ferentz. He finds a way to somehow be very good still.
Yeah. He has some trouble, I don't know, embracing the 21st century in certain respects. Until last year, it felt like Iowa had forgotten what the forward pass was. They're trying to change that new offensive coordinator
they're
and
getting
whatnot.
back to it. All they need is Ricky Stanzi to come back, and they'll be all right.
I mean, an Iowa or Wisconsin-like job for Brian Kelly, I feel like is what works. He can't be at a place that's the expectation is national championships because I just don't feel like he's a coach at that level. A guy that can win you 8 to 10 games and that's good enough for that institution. That is the goal. That's the expectation. That's where Brian Kelly needs to be, in my view.
The Midwest.
Yep, pretty much
is where he should be.
Or UCLA. I think UCLA would love to win 8 games
the last
a year.
Kelly that went out there didn't work out too well. I think
Bob Chesney's going to do a really good job there in LA. I think they'll be all right.
So Brian Kelly going to join the CBS Sports crew and call some Mountain West games. All right, back to baseball for a little bit. We've been talking about CAGs, and by no means am I saying this is why CAGs is performing well. I just think it's fascinating across baseball. So Sean Zarillo on Twitter, he actually works for the Action Network. He was doing a deep dive that perhaps something's changed with the baseball itself. Now, this will not be the first time that baseball has been in a bit of hot water with this, but basically there's strong evidence. I'll just read his tweet. He says, there's strong evidence that Major League Baseball either changed the baseballs or introduced a new batch of baseballs while still cycling out the old in late May/early June. Almost every contact quality-controlled StatCast metric has seen an outlier uptick in recent weeks. Barrel distance increased by over 10 feet from April of 2026 to present. The biggest in-season April to June jump of the StatCast era. That's critical because you might say, well, no kidding. Since April, there's more power. It's more humid. It's hot out. No. This is of the StatCast era. It's more than just the normal bump, an extra 10 feet. The average is 4.6 feet, if you're wondering, with weather. So we got from 4.6 to 10.2, and it also aligns with a drop in the what they call the drag data, the drag on the ball. So there's speculation that Major League Baseball has changed the baseballs in the middle of the season again. Now, look, I'm not telling... Cags has had the power long before all this. This is not even about Jack Caglione. I just think it's fascinating. Is this why we're seeing more home runs across the board in the last month?
Could be, because I feel like, this is a situation, and maybe it's too tinfoil hat-like to go into that, but the first couple months of the season, it felt like we were talking a lot about the pitching in Major League Baseball, and the hitting was sort of lagging behind. The offense wasn't quite where it had been in previous seasons. And who knows if this is actually a valid experiment or valid numbers in any way, shape, or form, but it is pretty jarring when you look at it. I mean, barrel distance going up 10 feet when it's usually going up less than 5.
And this is also, for those that are like, hey, again, the weather. In dome/roof closed games, the carries still jump 10 feet. So this is not a weather-related jump. That's why he's bringing it up. It's more than the typical jump that we see in the warm months.
Yeah.
Huh. Keep an eye on it. Well, you got to keep an eye on it here the rest of the summer.
And what does that mean? I mean,
what was it, 4 years ago that Major League Baseball had they changed the baseballs and got in a little bit of hot water?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, to change the baseballs out mid-year.
2021. They altered the baseballs for the 2021 season. They were to be deadened slightly to lessen a historic power surge the game had witnessed. So they deadened the balls in 2021. Here we are in 2026, and people are like, new baseballs or change the baseballs? Why are we seeing this happen?
So they deadened the baseballs just for Salvi to hit 48 of them out?
I don't know.
Hell of a year, Salvi.
Yeah. I'm not sure. It's one of those, I find it kind of fascinating to see people question now if Major League Baseball quietly, altered the baseballs here mid-season. And we'll see. I mean, people wondered, remember the juice baseballs that, going back to Aaron Judge in 2022, when he hit 62 home runs? So another quote on this from The Athletic. It says, the current baseball creates less drag. If it seems like there's been more offense recently, there has. And then, there's this. Drag on the ball currently lower than any other year other than 2019 when baseball broke all kinds of home run records. Super weird considering Major League Baseball owns the ball maker, has humidors in every park.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned that the numbers inside dome stadiums were similar. They're actually better. The barrel distance in indoor ballparks in Major League Baseball is plus 10.4 feet compared to the rest of baseball averaging at 10.2 feet. So it's not a temperature thing. It's not a humidity thing inside these temperature controlled, humidified locations. It definitely seems, at least based on the numbers, that something happened with the baseballs, or every player in Major League Baseball, or the majority of them, just decided that they were just going to begin to hit nukes all of a sudden, which feels far less likely.
Yeah, so this is what about the torpedo bats? Remember that was a story the first week of the season? That was a big deal about all the torpedo bat stuff. And that went away. Was that last year or this year?
That was this year.
Yeah, doesn't that feel like 5 years ago?
Yeah, like right at the beginning of this season. But I don't know how many players are even, is there a single player on the Royals team that's using those torpedo bat things? It feels like that was like a Yankee thing and nobody else was really using it.
It was that, but again, these numbers are saying it's increased from the end of April to now. Not that, remember the baseball season started end of March, early April. So I don't know. I mean, nobody definitively has the answer. I'm just putting out that I think it's kind of interesting, and it's something for us to keep an eye on. If we find out 3 months from now that they actually did change the baseball, or in the offseason there's some more studies done and more evidence of this, but it's just something I'm going to be keeping an eye on, I guess, and file away, and see if it continues or not.
Yeah, because it's there's people, and you can see it in the comments of these posts and things, these different numbers they're putting together and the science behind it. They're like, well, the balls go further in the summer when it gets warmer. Yes, we know that. At an average of 4.6 feet. This year, it's increasing at 10.2 feet, over double. It's not. This can't just be the weather.
And the torpedo bats were last year, so I would say it felt like that was the beginning of last year. I was going to say nobody's really talking about that this year. That was a big story a year ago. And now I don't know who even uses them.
I think it's just mostly Yankees guys. Like I know, like Jazz Chisholm is one of those guys that like uses the torpedo bats. Obviously, didn't help him in the home run derby last year, but I don't know. I was skeptical when we came into this conversation, but the more we talk about it and the more I look at these numbers, the more I think, yeah, there might be something going on with the baseballs.
We'll have to see in about a couple weeks if that trend continues. Someone did ask on the text line. They said they just got back in their truck. Did Carrington grill? No, we didn't. No.
At least not when we were out there.
Company picnic, he was not out there at all. He was not grilling. We had the hamburgers. Logan still got a half-eaten M&M cookie on his plate next to him. The burger was good, thanks to Sam Stevie over at our sister station. But nope, Carrington still has never grilled in his life.
Nope, he was a no-call, no-show to the picnic today.
Yeah, complete no-show, and he still has never grilled a hot dog or a burger or anything ever.
Was he there in spirit?
That's
what we don't know.
I don't know. He's on the air in about 10 minutes or so. You guys can fire off a bunch of texts, and I think you need to, no pun intended, you need to grill him on it.
Mm-hmm.
You really do. And find out what the hell's going on and why he hasn't grilled.
Why he wasn't even there, right? Like, I mean,
yeah, that was the interesting part. You know,
we were hoping that he would grill, but
we made it down there during our show somehow.
Right. We were hoping he would grill, but it didn't sound like, even in the text message, he's like, I've never grilled a day in my life. I'll be bringing a strong moral fiber and you know, whatever.
Warm attitude.
Whatever it was. He didn't even, like, it was one thing for him to be there and not grill, but to not be there at all is just disappointing.
We also got to the bottom of Logan's eating habits in the studio, and he claims that the sandwich left in the company kitchen months back was not his. He does admit.
I believe you, Logan.
He does admit to food in studio, and someone says, "Oh, of course, Logan's leaving an M&M cookie on the table."
I'm not leaving. I'm sitting
Make
right
sure you
next
take
to
that
it.
with
I'm
you.
taking it with me when I leave. All right, that was 3 or 4 months ago. I haven't done it since. And the last time I did it, I didn't leave food. I left the wrapper. I left the box that the burger came in the studio.
Onions.
Because it was a burger. The burger had onions on it. It was just the smell of the onions.
There's just certain foods we know, like you don't leave in the trash. In the studio, right? Like a wrapper of a candy bar, fine. But like if you would have brought in even Chipotle or something, like no, put the trash in the trash can outside the studio so it doesn't stink it up for CDOT.
that was a lesson learned.
Or for the morning show.
That was a lesson learned on my part. So I've since learned my lesson. I've been better about it. I mentioned to you off air, I've been medicated since then. All right. So
it's an
ADHD thing.
You just dropping. I've been medicated since like that. Everybody's like, what?
I got on ADHD medication after that point. So the whole like running around like a chicken with my head cut off and inability to focus on things has decreased dramatically.
All right. Well, good.
So I've been able to be like, hey, I brought food in here. Maybe I should grab that on my way out instead of, headset, computer, charger, getting all the things in my bag and trying to get out the door. Hey, let's
So it says,
remember.
what about the tacos? Who left the taco trash 2 years ago? I don't know if I remember that story.
I didn't even work here then.
Yeah, that was not Logan for sure. Taco, I have to remember that story. I know way back at one point, somebody left like I want to say it was in the producer, like where Drew's at, in the producer room or whatever. I at one point, someone left a bag and it was just full-blown onion smell in there.
Yeah, I don't. It was.
Yeah, I remember.
You remember that? I think
don't remember
wasn't
who
B-Dub still here when that happened? I think that was when B-Dub was still working.
I don't remember who
maybe.
it was, but I remember. Yes, that was something that happened.
Yeah,
wasn't me.
The good news for you, Logan, is if you leave the cookie in here, it's not going to smell.
It's true.
Nobody's going to complain about the smell of the cookie.